Good morning. It's now 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Our forecast calling for a mix of clouds and sun today. It'll be a hot one, too. Our high going to 94, and Stefano tells us the heat index could be around 107. Maybe some pop-up showers and thunderstorms this afternoon as well. In the news this morning, Iran is moving the goalpost again, saying now that it wants billions of dollars in U.S. payments, the removal of American troops from the region, and an end of the U.S. naval blockade.
It is a long list there. They're saying that not only does the U.S. have to let up on its blockade, not only does the U.S. have to pay reparations for damages caused by the war effort, it also has to agree to stop saying anything negative about the Iranian regime, that it's got to take all forces out of the Middle East writ large.
That's ABC's Shannon Kingston reporting. Vice President J.D. Vance telling Fox News this weekend that the U.S. will continue to pressure Iran to make long-term changes in relation with Washington. And if it doesn't, the U.S. will continue to apply pressure and get as much oil and gas out of the Middle East so Americans can enjoy lower gas and energy prices. Flooding hit parts of Middle Tennessee over the weekend. Some in Franklin still cleaning up from flash flooding along Warrior Drive. Channel 4's Braden Ross spoke to some of those neighbors.
We come back, man, it was flooded out. The bridge was about flowed out, too.
Joseph and Caroline Sustorf live next door and say they came back from a nice dinner to find the creek behind their home was overflowing and filling their backyard with rushing water.
Yeah, it was probably, I'd say 3 to 4 feet. What it was.
That's also when they saw the emergency lights down the street. We talked to those neighbors. They say Williamson County Fire and Rescue and other agencies started the process of a water rescue, but stopped when the water started receding from their home.
And the flooding, she says, only lasted for about 30 minutes, but it did cause extensive damage. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Major Wall Street indexes retained most of their early week gains to close in positive territory for the week Friday. The S&P 500 reached a new record high, boosted by about 90% of companies in the index reporting growth. Share prices for chipmaker NVIDIA and artificial intelligence company Palantir both saw strong price surges for the week, a possible hint that investors are gaining confidence in AI-driven markets. NVIDIA also helped by SpaceX's announcement Monday it'll be building with NVIDIA chips exclusively. Treasury yields fell after a disappointing July jobs report showing employers unexpectedly cut 23,000 jobs last month, when an 80,000 job gain had been forecast. China Friday reported exports slowed down in July over June. That's despite growing demand for electronics and vehicles. Customs data released Friday showed China's trade surplus slipped from $125 billion to $112.5 billion. I'm Stephanie Officer, ABC News.
And stock futures this morning on the mixed side. The Dow futures are minus 35, but the NASDAQ futures plus 113. S&P futures are up about 10 points. That's the latest news. Traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. All right, so we have no big problems this morning on the major roadways. They all look really good so far this morning. Just keep in mind that a bunch of school systems are going back to school today, including Rutherford County and Murfreesboro City Schools. Just a half day last Friday. Today, by the way, is the first full day for those schools. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Happy Monday, Joan. I know
What's so happy about it?
We're all excited. I'm excited. I'm excited every single Monday. Okay. I'm like Ken Weaver. The best day of the week is Monday when I get to come in here and talk to you folks. By the way, just so we're clear, I'm not talking about Joan and Sam. I'm talking about the people on the other end of the speakers. Joan can be Joe, Joanne, Joni, whatever.
Or Julie. Sometimes I'm Julie.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Or is it Jane?
It was Jane.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Anyway, I'm excited to be here. I don't know about you folks, but I am happy that it's Monday. Had a great weekend. Hope you guys had a great weekend as well. So we have a number of stories that I just cannot wait to tell you about. Number one, we have, of course, the latest in the WNBA, OMG and LOL. We're going to talk about that. Sophie Cunningham, she got absolutely butchered on the court over the weekend. We're going to talk about that. And
not
of course,
just by the players, but by the owners, the coaches, too.
Her own coach.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. So we have that story for you. We have what is going on Broadway, the downtown bars on Broadway in Nashville. They're going through a really, really difficult time. John Rich and others to the rescue. We are going to talk about that as well. We have AOC just oversharing some, I don't know, Sam's probably excited because over the weekend we got to see some AOC midriff because she is now sharing her fertility journey. But there's a whole thing on this. It's not about how AOC wants to have, children. It's that she's trying to relate to moms as she prepares for her upcoming presidential run in 2028. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. James O'Keefe strikes again.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah, and don't forget, Joan's World is coming up at 5:35 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And we also have the latest in Iran. And I know that you'll be shocked, but things are not going well.
Are making new demands. Iran's Supreme National Security Council issued a fresh statement this weekend calling on the United States to permanently end the war and compensate Iran for damages before the strait would reopen. This comes as Iran's foreign minister says even if a deal is reached, it doesn't necessarily mean the strait will stay open.
Yep. So somebody asked me over the weekend, because Iran and I've got all the latest demands, but somebody asked me over the weekend, why is it? And I've asked the same question. We've all asked the same question. If we can bomb the living crap out of Iran, then why can't we just take over the Strait of Hormuz? And I would say, and I would submit that if we could, we would have done it by now. But obviously, and I've explained many times why we simply can't, but it is clear that we can't. The Iranians have missiles and drones and mines all at the ready. And some of these are mobile in nature. They can literally be launched from the back of a pickup truck. In other words, this is sort of low-grade military maneuvering and launching. So, we know how to blow things up. We know how to blow up infrastructure. But how do you take out a pickup truck that has a bunch of drones in the back of it? And how do you take it out before they launch said drones? And again, it's all about insurance, and these ships are not able to get insurance because of simply the threat. Let's also not forget about the mines that they have laid in the Strait of Hormuz. So the Iranians have done all kinds of things to make the insurance companies nervous. So it's not necessarily about blowing up the Iranian side of the Strait of Hormuz. It is, how do we stop the drones from coming from the Iranian side of the strait when they're launching them, again, for example, from the back of pickup trucks. And so there's a lot to it. It's not just why can't we blow up the Iranian side of the Strait of Hormuz. Trust me when I say, if there is a will, if there is a way to do this, we would have figured it out. Donald Trump keeps saying, we own the strait, we own the strait. We don't own the Strait of Hormuz. So it's clear right now we don't really know what to do. So now the question is, what is next? The Iranians are now demanding these 6 demands for U.S. Do you know what they're calling it? They're calling it U.S. behavior correction before they agree to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Conversations about the strait come as the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports remains in effect, costing the regime hundreds of millions of dollars each day. President Trump told Axios today, we are low-keying it. We are only semi-negotiating with them. The president went on to say, we are just watching Iran with its huge inflation and the fact they have no money. Vice President J.D. Vance told Fox News that U.S. pressure on Iran will continue.
They're hurting in a big way. They want this thing to be over. The question is whether they're able, their system is able to give the things that are necessary for us to be happy, for us to feel like we've gotten what we need out of this particular engagement. That is still to be determined, but I do think that we've made some progress over the last few days.
So what are the 6 behavior corrections that Iran is demanding? Of all the nations that would demand behavior corrections, Iran demanding that of us is awfully rich. But you ready? Here we go. The U.S. must stop threatening and insulting Iran. Do they know who Donald Trump is? I mean, Trump lives to troll. He is the troller in chief. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying that is what Donald Trump is especially known for. I would submit that if it wasn't for President Trump's incredible ability to troll, he actually wouldn't be in the White House right now, because that was part of the beauty of his first campaign. They also say, the Iranians also say, that the U.S. must end military action against Iran and its allies in Lebanon, Hamas, Yemen, and Iraq. And so they're basically saying that you got to loop Israel in there as well, of course. And by the way, Israel is like, no. We're not accepting any of this. And so Benjamin Netanyahu is doing what he does as well, which is complicating matters even more. Here's another one. We must lift the naval blockade. That's not going to happen. We must withdraw from Iran. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We must compensate Iran for damages from 2 wars, and all sanctions must be removed, and we must release the frozen Iranian assets. And so those are the terms. A lot of those, I could just tell you, are things that Donald Trump will never agree to. You know, remember that part of the dynamic here is that Donald Trump has said that Obama's deal with Iran way back when, it was an unmitigated disaster. And one of the things Obama did was give Iran pallets of cash. And of course, Donald Trump has been talking about that forever. So Donald Trump needs to make sure whatever deal he agrees to cannot be compared to what Obama did. And here's the other thing. Are we really going to be willing to compensate Iran? I would say no. Donald Trump has said in the past that the U.S. allowing Iran to sell oil on the open market is their compensation. So, in other words, here we are. I think we left, Joan, you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong, and I very well could be. But Thursday or Friday, wasn't Donald Trump once again saying that we were close to a deal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So everybody knows that I'm over it. Everybody knows that we're all over it. But for the president, again, it's one of those moments where he should not be talking about how we're close to a deal when clearly we are not. And here we are on a Monday. And I think we actually, didn't we do a poll of the 3 of us as to how long this whole thing was going to go? I think we did, but I forget who said what. So we'll just go ahead and declare Joan the winner. But I know that we all have been skeptical. Oh, was it me?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. Did I say 2 weeks? Obviously, I was high. Or clearly wrong. Whatever. Anyway, so we are, by the way, destroying Iran financially. That is also part of the discussion. We've got more straight ahead. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
So we've got a crash in Cedar Hill. It's at 24 eastbound side at Maxey Road. Also, South Nashville, a crash on I-440 eastbound just before I-24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Appreciate it. By the way, am I seeing correctly that in Nashville they have new hours for the children going to school?
Going to school?
Yeah, I think I just look that up for me, Sam, if you would. I'm just curious as what the new hours are. Super text line, by the way, is open 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Would love to hear from you this morning.
High schools now run from 7:25 a.m. to 2:25 p.m.
7:25 a.m.
Yeah.
Later.
And elementary and early learning centers run from 8:10 a.m. to 3:10 p.m. Middle schools remain at 8:55 to 3:55.
I was going to say, when I went to school, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Middle schools and high schools was in MMPS district-wide 8 to 3.
So why did they move it up? Anybody know?
More than likely, you're stressing the bus system, and the parents that could do drop-off needed it moved up so they could still get to work on time.
Yeah, very good point.
Also, there's all the studies that say that teens need their sleep.
Does 20 minutes really make a difference?
I don't think so. What?
Sam's like, yes.
Sophomore year, I had chemistry on the third floor, first period.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to school, the first thing I do is I'm hiking up 3 flights of stairs. And then my last name, Rutherford, I'm at the back of the class. So I got to mosey on back to the back. And then I just fall asleep. The teacher wouldn't see because of the classroom being so big and all this stuff.
Well, Sam, that might be a disciplinary problem with you. Because, I mean...
So here's what they say on Metro Nashville Public Schools website.
Yes.
Feedback consistently showed that while the current tiered structure generally works for families, early high school start times can be challenging for many students. More extensive options were explored, including larger shifts to later start times and swapping tier structures, but were not recommended due to childcare impacts, transportation complexity, and strong feedback against later middle school dismissal times. The approval plan reflects the input made, making targeted adjustments, blah, blah, blah. But that's what they said. Early high school start times can be challenging for many students.
We don't want to challenge students.
No, gosh.
We wouldn't want to challenge students. No. Today's kids can't handle challenges.
It's unbelievable.
You know what? We sound really old, Joan.
We do.
When how dare us place expectations on children? We can't possibly have that.
Yes, they're not.
I mean, Lord help us, Joan.
Teenagers.
Joan, listen. If we place expectations on children, then they might fall asleep in the back of the class. Right, Sam?
Right.
I had to take it online during the summer for my senior year. It was not fun.
Listen, childhood isn't always about fun. It's about GSDing. You know what GSDing is, Joan?
Getting S done.
Getting S done. That's exactly right.
Wow.
I said to Amy this weekend, we're GSDing it this weekend. We're getting stuff done.
And she said...
The only thing she's getting done is putting suntan lotion on and hanging out by the pool.
I saw that photo.
That was basically, we're not.
Are we going to address?
No, we're not going to address it. We're not going to address the photo that was on, that Amy decided for whatever reason to post on social media.
The people deserve to know what you're doing under the towel, Dan.
I did not find that funny. I did not find that. I didn't know she did that,
I
actually.
thought that was hysterical.
All right, well,
the Daily Dan poll part of it was the best.
All right, so I guess now we have to talk about it. So I'll see if I can actually get the photo off my Facebook page. Hey, this is the problem. Like when you're married to somebody like Amy, who's got a wicked, and I mean wicked sense of humor, she will do stuff and she doesn't ask for permission. She asked for forgiveness. Now, in this particular case, she didn't ask for permission or forgiveness. She said, yeah, I did it. I did what I did. What did Amy do? We'll talk about it at 5:35, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. All right, back to Iran. By the way, this is what we mean when we say the 5 o'clock hour is a little more loosey-goosey, which is why it's my favorite hour. Because we've gone from the war in Iran to start times in Nashville schools to
what were you doing under the towel?
To what was I doing under the towel? And why in the world did my don't ask for permission or forgiveness wife decide to post on social media over the weekend?
Just so you know, the rest of us, we see that, we go, good job, Amy. Good job.
Yeah. People like to torment me, and I don't understand. Even my wife likes to torment me, and I don't understand why.
It's not torment so much as it is, well, we're laughing with you, Dan.
No, you're laughing at me, actually. And you know what? That's okay. I've made an entire career out of people laughing at me, and that's all fine, well, and good. Anyway, nobody's laughing at Iran, real quickly. So I want to play some audio. This is, I think this is UN's, help me out here, because I know I've got the wrong name, and I was tired when I did this. UN Secretary, is it Mike Waltz?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
Is it Mike Waltz? All right. UN Secretary Mike Waltz, this was last night on Fox News.
Operation Economic Fury, led by Secretary Scott Bessent, is devastating the Iranian economy. And I say this jokingly, but seriously as well. The Iranians are more afraid of Secretary Bessent than they are of Secretary Hegseth right now. When they're coming to the table to our negotiators, they are talking about cash, 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 because they'll absorb the bombings. They don't care about their military. They don't care about their soldiers.
They don't care about their people.
Or even the Iranian people after they massacred 40,000 of them. But what are they worried about? They're worried about that their currency is tanking. Inflation is the highest in 80 years. The IRGC controls half the economy. Because this is a corrupt, elite, religious, fanatic regime that has devastated that country for many, many decades. They are constantly asking for access to cash, access to their assets that we've frozen. And what the president is talking about is that's the squeeze. That coupled with the blockade, that's what's going to eventually get the Iranians to move.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens. By the way, we've been hearing the same thing for a long time. Somebody said on the super text line, why can't we just kill the Islamic Revolutionary Guard? I understand that. I understand that sentiment. Again, I'm going to say, if we could, we would have done it by now. You know what I mean? So that's the problem, is that they meet underground. We never really know when or where they're going to meet. I'd be willing to bet that we don't even know who they are, because all these guys are named Muhammad, right? I mean, they all look the same,
accurate,
right?
Yeah.
They got the dirty beards and the turbans.
Yeah.
And they're all named Muhammad.
And child brides.
And child brides. That's the other thing. So, you know.
It's like trying to root out a subterranean, colony of some deadly parasitic bug.
Well, that's what they are. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Anyway, 5:24. Joan's got the news coming up at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here at 5:30, flock cameras helped capture a wanted Tennessee man. He was in New Jersey. We've got that and more coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
529 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, Joan, so we're trying to figure out how to get this picture up on the YouTube feed. And if you're watching us on Super Talk TV, it is a post that my lovely wife, Amy, decided to post without my permission by the side of our pool. And the question is, the special Daily Dan poll was, what is Dan doing underneath the towel? So
people can still see it.
We're going to replicate that on YouTube, and we'll make that the Daily Dan poll. And at the end, I will actually tell you what I was doing underneath that towel at the end of Joan's World that is coming up at 5:35. So if Sam, if you can figure out how to do it where you can actually see it. Our computers in here drive me just bat crap crazy, Joan. So we're trying to... Every day it's something else. Anyway, watch us on YouTube, watch us on Facebook, watch us on 997WTN.com. Rumble, it is Super Talk TV. And also you can watch the show any time of the day or night. So if it's like 9 o'clock at night and you can't sleep, there's nothing better than Nashville's Morning News and hearing me monologue, and that'll put you right to sleep. That's all you got to do. What do they call it? AMSR? ASMR? AMS? Whatever it is?
What is that?
The
ASMR.
AMSMR?
No, ASMR.
ASMR. I'm like ASMR. Like, you can't sleep, just put me on. And my droning will put you right to sleep. There's a lot of benefits to Nashville's Morning News. I'm just telling you. And I'm sure you would agree. It is 5:31, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 5:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories and our forecast calling for a mix of clouds and sun today. But it's going to be so hot, 94 degrees with a heat index of 107, so a pretty humid day today. Perhaps some showers or thunderstorms happening this afternoon as well. In the news, a man who had been wanted in Jefferson County on a child rape charge has been captured in New Jersey thanks to a flock camera. Toyin Patterson is his name. His car was flagged in North Jersey, and an officer pulled it over and arrested him without incident. That car and license plate information had been added to the flock system on Friday, not long before the cameras flagged him. The company accused of selling lettuce that's causing an outbreak of cyclosporiasis is having a personnel problem, too. Taylor Farms is now suing the president of its Tennessee subsidiary, claiming that he stole more than $32 million to fund a lavish lifestyle. Brian Thor is accused of using fraudulent vendor charges, reimbursements, and the use of a company credit card for his own gain. He and his wife allegedly purchased $1 million home in Hawaii, then donated it to the Middle Tennessee Christian School in Murfreesboro for fundraising purposes. That's according to the lawsuit. Brian Thur is said to have confessed and apologized to Taylor Farms. Looks like a lot of people escaped the hot weather by ducking into a movie theater this weekend.
Sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart.
Spider-Man Brand New Day continued its blistering pace in theaters, collecting over $144 million domestically over its second weekend. Said studio estimates Sunday. It's earned $1.67 billion worldwide in just 10 days.
Help me go home.
Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey also crossed $1 billion, adding $31 million domestically this weekend. The premiere of comedies One Night Only at $5.7 million was third, and Super Troopers 3, $4 million was fourth.
That's ABC's Chuck Severson reporting. That is the latest news. Traffic's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Times are tough. Absolutely, I agree. Now, if you need a new truck or a minivan, maybe an SUV, Mid-10 Ford, they can help you out with great selection, terrific pricing as well. Mid-10 Ford, they've been around for 56 years, since 1969, helping people get the vehicle that is right for them. They can help you save $1,000 or more on select Ford trucks. They also offer special financing as well if you need it. Now, Mid-10 Ford, I like to say that they're a one-stop shop. You can buy your vehicle there at Mid-10 Ford. You can get it serviced. They have a body shop as well. So you want a brand new or a pre-owned vehicle, you can check out all of the great deals at their website, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. They offer low-pressure sales, maximum customer service if you show up at their business, 1319 Foster Avenue. This is a family-owned business going back 4 generations. So, yeah, they do know how to treat customers. So let them help you get into your next vehicle. Again, low-pressure sales, maximum customer service. Find them online, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. Let their family take care of your family.
Yeah, still working 2 crash scenes, one in Cedar Hill on 24 eastbound at Maxey Road. EMS is responding to that one. And another crash in South Nashville. This is I-440 eastbound before I-24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
537 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. And welcome on in to a Monday. It is August 10th. All right, real quick. So watch us on YouTube, and over the weekend, Amy posted something unbeknownst to me and without my permission. I was underneath a towel. We're poolside, and I've got the towel basically over my head and over my entire body. And she posted this special Daily Dan poll. Is he A, napping, B, hiding his bald head from the sun, or C, texting Matt Murphy? Now, it had been up for a minute before I realized that she had actually done that. If you want to see it, go watch us on YouTube right now. You can see the photo. And then I, of course, shared it on my page. And so we've gone ahead, Joan, and we've done the Daily Dan poll. That is the Daily Dan poll for the next 15 minutes.
Look at that. She's making your job easy. Come on.
So, Joan, what do you think I'm doing underneath that
I think
that
you're
blanket,
texting Matt Murphy.
that towel? You think you're texting Murphy Show?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so you know, Joan, is it that Matt Murphy is not a big weekend texter?
Oh, I see.
Sam, what do you think?
I'm going to go with napping.
You going to go with napping?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but weren't you leaning forward Like, you didn't look like you were napping.
You've never seen me nap, Joan, because I
Okay.
can nap.
Okay.
I can nap chin to chest.
That's fair.
By the way, real quickly, before we get into Joan's world, a couple of movie recommendations. Because you were talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The movie Power Ballad is available. I don't know if it's Netflix or whatever, but it's online with Paul Rudd and a Jonas brother. I had no idea Paul Rudd was such a good singer. But Power Ballad is one of the better movies that I've seen in a long time.
Power Ballad.
Yeah.
And it's new in theaters?
No. It's on like Netflix or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we finally saw Breadwinner with Nate Bargatze. Also very good. So if you have the time and the ability to go see Power Ballad or Breadwinner, those are my two pick to clicks if you want to go watch those.
Okay.
Sam is going to obsess over Spider-Man. We know,
amazing.
Sam, you love Spider-Man.
It was amazing.
Okay, very good.
And
See it in
I have
40X.
one too.
Go ahead, Joan.
Last night we watched, this was on, I think it was on Fox Nation. It's the Jeff Foxworthy, like his last show.
Mm-hmm.
What an amazing, first of all, he's had an amazing life.
Yes.
And you know, he's 67 now. So he films his last show and kind of talks about his life leading up to it.
Yeah.
And it's just really good.
You've got
just really good.
You've got to love Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah.
And how old did you say he is?
67.
Wow.
But his hair is all white mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
But you could go into your 80s, man.
Oh, yeah.
But if he wants to retire, more power to him. All right, time for Jones World.
Jones World, party time. Excellent.
All right, Jones World, 541. Joan picks the topics. I have not heard these topics. I don't know what they are. So go ahead, Joan.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say that Coca-Cola, last week we did the thing about how they won't say Jesus is king.
Right.
On Coca-Cola, but they would say Allah is king. So they fixed it.
Okay.
They made it so that Allah is king and Satan is king is also not available. They didn't fix it.
They couldn't make it so that you can say Jesus is king.
They couldn't do that. And then they completely took the program down because they realized what a mess they made of it. So there you go. That's the follow-up on that one. Here's the new one, though. And this is Shake Shack. Apparently, this couple figured out, and I didn't know this either, that if you don't add a tip when you're using, like, I guess, an automated service to be able to order what you want from Shake Shack, if you don't at the end put a tip, the program goes back and changes the prices that you're paying for your food.
No.
Yes, watch this.
My wife says that if you don't tip at Shake Shack, they make it more expensive per item, so we're about to find out.
Oh no.
Tapping to order.
Order 2 shakes just like before.
Go through the whole thing.
$9.99.
Okay.
We got
Add to cart. Going through the whole thing.
Yep.
Peas and cream.
Okay, let's see.
And we got vanilla with.
They order 3 things. It's like, just order one thing and be done with it. But okay.
It's not that hard, people.
Yeah.
Okay, see that?
So now they're checking out.
Yeah. Now watch what it says after they say no tip.
Okay, so the total is $21.78. It's now asking you if you want to add a tip. Right, here we go.
Right here.
Uh-oh. There has been a pricing update on one or more of your cart items. Please review these changes in your cart. So in other words, it's alerting you that
they're changing it.
There's been a change in price.
A pricing update on one or more of your cart items. Please review.
So what did they do?
Everything just went up 50 cents.
Everything went up 50 cents.
So in other words, if you decide not to tip, they're going to get you one way or another.
That's right. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, let me see. Do we want to play this last commentary? Here's what they say.
Every item went up by 50 cents. Just making sure everybody knows, do not go there.
All right. Well,
so I thought on my way home today, because I passed the Shake Shack on 24, I thought maybe I'd stop and try that. And I can report tomorrow whether or not that's
It's a great
true.
excuse to have a burger and a
I
shake
know,
on a Monday.
right? I'm
you
just
know,
gonna have a
any
shake.
excuse, Joan.
Yeah.
You know who doesn't do that?
Who?
In-N-Out.
That's true.
In-N-Out would never do that.
I don't know the legality of doing that. If they list the price as here's your price, can they legally go and change it on you because you're not tipping?
That's why you had the price update notification. You were notified that the price was going to change.
Yep, that's exactly right. Once you hit OK, you have the choice between...
Like that's giving consent?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, you should tip.
Of course.
But here's the thing at Shake Shack, though. They were doing their own order on the screen, so what exactly are they tipping for? That's the whole conversation everybody's been having is, why are we tipping when we're going in there and we're doing the order on a screen and then they cook it and they literally bring it to my table? Or I don't know how they get the food, but it just seems like we're being asked to tip for very little. Now, I tip just because that's what I do, but I mean, I see why people would say, no, we're not tipping for not a lot of actual service.
Like
why would we do that?
When you go to Starbucks, you place the order and then you go to the end of the counter and you pick it up. Like nobody serves you at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're just doing what they're supposed to do behind the counter. Why do you tip for that? I don't get it.
Well, the problem we have is that we have a society today where there's certain, I would say, expectations placed on us when those expectations, in my opinion, are inappropriate. It's like, if you didn't serve me, then why am I being asked to give you a tip? Yeah. Now, we don't have to do it unless you go to Shake Shack, in which case they just go ahead and conveniently raise your prices, apparently 50 cents an item, so that it'll force you to tip.
Yeah. So that they don't have to pay their employees a certain hourly wage, not to sound like a socialist.
Well, yeah, there is that too.
Yep.
There is that too. I mean, for me, I just think that trying to shame us or force us into tipping is wrong. I think that if people deserve a tip, they'll get a tip. But we should also acknowledge that there are some people that just suck as tippers. Like, we have to acknowledge that. Joan, you used to work as a waitress.
Yeah.
You know darn right well
that
there are some people that refuse to tip well or refuse to tip at all.
And I get it if you give them bad service, and it happens. Sometimes the kitchen gets overrun. They don't put out the food that you want. They send out the wrong order. Things happen. Yep. And for that kind of service, you don't tip. But for the most part, people understood back then that you tip the waitress. But the waitress is like doing all the work to make it so that you just sit there and I bring you everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than, you placing your order and doing all the work and then just somebody puts it on a counter for you.
I think that there are people in this country who they refuse to tip regardless, just because they're a-holes and they're rude. And some people feel like that's their way of like getting one over on other people. And I think that that's a shame. I think that there's people that won't tip if there's bad service. I tend to tip regardless just because I'm dumb. But I'm appreciative that people are actually coming to work. That's my thing. Because in America today, we make it far too easy for people not to work.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I'm just appreciative that people are coming to work, but whatever. I mean, Shake Shack should not do that if that is what they're doing. I want to go jump to the Mike Rowe comment on Bill Maher's show. I want to go ahead and do that. I've got some stuff on the WNBA, and I don't want to like do it here and then do it in the 6 o'clock hour. So this is Mike Rowe, who, by the way, Mike Rowe. Do you know what I consider Mike Rowe? I consider Mike Rowe a modern-day American hero.
I do, too.
In the sense that he is giving, number one, really sound advice when it comes to people learning trades. But he's also, got those scholarships where he'll help people who are trying to make their way in this world through the trades. And I think that that's great. So he was on Bill Maher's audience. He was on Bill Maher's show, and he made the audience gasp. What happened, Joan?
He's talking about young men and how screen time is taking away from everything that young men used to do that helped to build our society. So society's kind of crumbling because young men aren't showing up.
The question doesn't start with what are they doing? It starts with what aren't they doing? They're not volunteering at their local church. They're not in the Kiwanis Club. They're not checking out the Rotarians or the Lions Club. They're not in the Boy Scouts or Skills USA. They're not contributing anything in their community. What are they doing? On average, they're spending between 2,000 and 2,100 hours a year on their screen. It is just, we just haven't seen the like of it before.
Sam, can you do the math on that? So if they're spending 2,100 hours a year on screen, what does that come to a day?
How are they able to survive? I can't paint with too broad a brush. Maybe some of them are trust fund kids. Maybe some of them have enough.
A lot of it is money from other generations.
Sure.
You know, they just hate our generation, except when we give them money. That's always okay.
Yeah.
It's always okay when you get daddy's money.
So one of the things that I would say is, and it is, do you have that number, by the way, real quick, Sam?
5.75 hours every single day.
So almost 6 hours every single day. Now, to give the benefit of the doubt, maybe they're doing homework. But you ask, okay, so this can dovetail into our earlier conversation on the later start time in school, because we don't want our high school kids to be challenged, our kids to be challenged by having to show up to school early. How many of those kids would be or should be going to bed earlier, but they're not? They're on their phones, they're on their computers. It is the screen time. So if
Michael isn't talking about kids, though. He's talking about young men. And maybe as kids, you know, it leads them into their adulthood. But he's talking about the contributions of young men who used to go and volunteer, like he said, at their church or become, join the Rotary. Like, do the upstanding things that, because those are all charitable organizations that help other people do things. And that's that thing that leads people. Now they're not getting charity from the church, from local organizations. Now they've got to go to the government. And you and I have to, support them with our tax dollars. So it's just changed society in an incredible way.
Just in general, we're in a young male crisis. We are. Hopefully, we are exiting the fatherless epidemic, but these are the young men that we are left with from that. And so there are a lot of unhappy, depressed, anxiety-riddled. I mean, we look at what happened in Twin Falls, Idaho. You know, there are a lot of young men who have nothing to do but sit in front of a screen.
What happened in Twin Falls, Idaho?
The In-N-Out.
24 shooting an In-N-Out.
Well, yeah, I get it, but you need to say it.
It's all part of the factor, whether you're right or left, that there is ages 20 to 27, there is a crisis happening for those young men. And part of it's identity. They don't know where they're going to make their careers. They don't know what's going to sustain a family, if they're ever going to have one, if they're going to get married. And that all factors into spending that much time.
Time out. I get what you're saying, but we've been talking about the trades for a long time. Speaking of Mike Rowe.
Yes.
We know how people can earn a living. Though, if you're a young man and you're 22, 23, 24 years old, I think that guy was 24. He knows, I don't know what mental health issues he had, but we can't say, oh, everybody they don't know how to make a living and they're so hopeless and aimless. BS on that. They know they can go to HVAC school, they can go to welding school, they can learn a trade.
Electricians, oh my goodness.
And at the very least, they can earn a living. That dude had obvious mental health issues, and I'm not excusing what he did. Frankly, I'm glad that he's dead. I wish the cops would have taken him out, but whatever. He took himself out. He took the cowardly way out, whatever. But, I'm not going to use that as an excuse.
No, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm saying there's a blanket generation of young men who have been affected by this fatherlessness epidemic, which is not necessarily no father in the home, but a emotionally absent father who doesn't teach you anything. They may know that they could go to HVAC school, but unless they've watched somebody complete a task and fix something, it doesn't register in their brain that that's something they're capable of.
Plus, they don't have those kind of courses anymore in the high schools.
Yeah, there's
no woodworking shop.
They need those courses in the worst way. They really do. I mean, that is a big problem.
Some of y'all can't cook out there. Need home ec back.
Is home ec gone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All of that. All of the tangible, put your hands on things and learn a task, learn how to fix or make something. That has been out of the system for 20 years.
Or learn accounting of your own bank account.
Yeah, personal finance. how to apply for a loan, the important things.
How about this? How much does the epidemic of young women, especially liberal women, not wanting to get married, not wanting to have children, having a house cat is okay? No. Like, how much of that figures into this too? Like, young men don't have that goal anymore to get married and have a family, or maybe they just can't find it.
Did you just say, though, that having a house cat is okay?
No, I said that's what a lot of liberal women will do. Yeah. They'll have a house cat instead of a family.
Well, they'll have more like
got it. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that men perhaps are having a hard time finding women who want to have those same values.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of young men out there who can't get a date.
Yes.
They are unable to find a connection with a woman. And perhaps part of that problem is that, women have been, trained these days to distrust men because men have been the bane of society, according to the media and the leftists, for a long time. And so now...
Just watch any commercial. The guy is always the dummy.
Yeah.
He's always the effeminate one who's cleaning the floor and doing the laundry. Like, no.
And then let's say you do, as a man, you approach a young lady while you're out and you ask for her number, and then she chastises you for being creepy. What are you going to get? We're going to go home and you're going to sit on your computer for the next 5 hours.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to game and you're going to get it out of your system. So it becomes part of the cycle.
Yeah. So here's the deal. The whole point is that we do have a rudderless society, especially amongst our younger generation, and they do need to find a purpose in life. And clearly, they're not finding it online, and that is a big, big part of the problem. And by the way, going back to the high school, going back to the middle school, a lot of parents, and I've said this 1,000 times, parents aren't paying attention. You know why? Because they're on their phones and their laptops as well.
Yeah.
All right, real quick. Speaking of lame. So real quick, this got a lot of traction over the weekend. My lovely Mrs. Special Daily Dan poll posting on Facebook, unbeknownst to me. What is Dan Mandis doing under the towel? Napping, hiding his bald head from the sun, or texting Matt Murphy? She took this picture as we were poolside at home. And I was indeed underneath, sitting in a chair and head towel all the way down to my knees. And I'm underneath it, and she said, what is Dan doing? So the Daily Dan poll, what did people decide that I was doing?
46% of folks say that you are texting Matt Murphy under the towel.
Ding, 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 ding.
I was texting Matt Murphy.
You were?
I was.
See?
Mm-hmm. I was texting Matt, and you can't see it with my phone for whatever reason. I couldn't see it under the sun. Yeah, so that's what I was doing. And by the way, I was also protecting my bald head. So there was that as well.
2 for 1.
That's right. A two for Monday. All right, got to go. 5:57. Joan's got the news at 6. Joan.
Yeah, some call this the most wonderful time of the year. For kids, maybe not so much. School's back at a handful of districts today. We've got that coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, my think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, I watched you do it. It's, about 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt, we appreciate you.
Good morning, 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It is the first day of school in Sumner and Rutherford counties today. Williamson County schools have a half day of classes. Metro Nashville Public Schools will return tomorrow. All this has Metro Nashville Police issuing reminders for drivers.
Remember, please leave home early, give yourself extra time, slow down, watch for students and school buses, drive carefully, and please adhere to the 15-mile-per-hour speed limit in active school zones.
Metro Nashville Police also in need of crossing guards. Anybody interested, encouraged to visit the Metro Nashville Police website and search crossing guard. A boat capsized in New York Harbor near the Statue of Liberty on Saturday night, killing a woman and her young baby.
A chaotic and desperate rescue unfolding in the shadow of the Statue of Liberty in the middle of the night. 14 people thrown into the water after their boat capsized. Rescuers racing to find a mother and her 5-month-old baby. Rescuers eventually pulling all 14 from the water. But tragically, 27-year-old Sarah Sanchez and her 5-month-old daughter Antonella Garcia later pronounced dead at the hospital.
And the boat captain there, 46-year-old Manuel Hernandez, is under arrest. Now, the Coast Guard is digging into whether this was an illegal charter operation and if Hernandez was carrying passengers for hire without the required credentials. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stock futures were mixed overnight as investors await details on a possible deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. On Friday, the major averages posted gains after monthly unemployment numbers suggested the Fed will hold interest rates steady. The same uncertainty over the direction of the U.S.-Iran conflict has again pushed crude oil prices higher. Consumer gasoline prices, though, have fallen back 8 cents in the past week to a national average just above $4 a gallon. An attempt at a comeback failed in 2013, but the owners of MySpace are hinting at a possible relaunch of the once mighty social media platform. Founded in 2003, MySpace eventually boasted 115 million visitors per month before it was overtaken by Facebook. And Krispy Kreme can't wait for the calendar to say that fall has arrived. Its autumn lineup of donuts will be available tomorrow. It includes a pair of new flavors, maple cheesecake and cafe mocha. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures are mixed this morning. That's the latest news. Traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. We have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
'Cedar Hill, it's an accident, 24 eastbound at Maxey Road with EMS on the scene. Also, Woodbine, a crash left shoulder is blocked off on 24 west at I-440 for it. And a crash on Brick Church Pike in Davidson. It's at Old Hickory Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well. And welcome on into a Monday. It is August 10th. Mix of clouds and sun today. High of 94. Going to feel like 107. Possible storms this afternoon as well. So huge developments in the war on the WNBA, or at least a war on the straight white women of the WNBA. This is an incredible story. First of all, over the weekend, Sam, I got some video here. Over the weekend, we had another assault on the basketball court as this black basketball player named Dejanai Carrington. She is, a player, obviously doesn't like Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham is going in for a layup, and Carrington comes in really hard behind Cunningham, and with her left forearm smacks Sophie Cunningham in the back of the head. This is what it sounded like and looked like if you're watching on Super Talk TV.
Face coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant too, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant too. There is wind up, there is follow through, there's potential for injury.
Without
Sophie
question.
Cunningham in a vulnerable position in the air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question.
I mean, she smacked her in the back of the head. What did you say to me in my headphones? What did you say, Sam?
She choke slammed her. She got her by the front of the neck with her elbow.
Yeah, it's
Aren't they
very
calling it clotheslining?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joan.
I did that several times in my basketball career.
It's violent.
Yes.
It is violent. And so, it was a really hard hit. And by the way, Ola DeJournay, she can't say it was an accident because when Sophie goes down, she gets back up and she's like ready to battle. And, if you do that, you ever watch like a baseball game where a pitcher hits a batter and the pitcher might be like, that's my bad. I'm sorry. Didn't mean it. Right. DeJournay, or whatever the hell her name is, she goes and she starts pushing Sophie Cunningham and really, abrasive and confrontational. So not only does this Carrington clothesline Sophie Cunningham and sends her to the ground, but then Sophie gets up and Carrington basically is challenging her to a fight. And so there's no way that this thing was an accident. No way possible. And so she gets kicked out of the game. She got, I guess, a foul, and she tweets out when she goes back to the locker room, white privilege. Basically saying that the reason why she was kicked out of the game was because Sophie Cunningham has white privilege. Now, as you can imagine, that set the internet on fire. And I would say this. So it's white privilege that in the WNBA for the last couple of years, right? Caitlin Clark and now Sophie Cunningham can be assaulted on the basketball court, and vile players such as DeJournay Carrington can get away with it. I mean, honest to goodness, she should be kicked out or suspended for at least a week or two. That was an actual assault on the basketball court. Now you can say, but Dan, she got ejected from the game. Well, okay, fine. So she got ejected from the game. But she doesn't care. Carrington does not care that she got ejected from the game. She got the rest of the night off. That's number one. And she gets to play the hero among the rest of the players because she got to assault Sophie Cunningham and get away with it. And she did. She got away with it. And so that they're all texting each other and giving each other, high fives and such. And the WNBA, they're not doing anything about it. So this is going to continue until they do something substantial about it. Carrington totally got away with it. And to say, oh, white privilege. I got kicked out because Sophie Cunningham has white privilege. I mean, sorry, but it's black privilege. That is what we've been seeing. It's black lesbian privilege. That is what we've been seeing in the WNBA, because these black lesbians have been able to, and that's part of the narrative. Everybody's been talking about this, where you have these black players, and what do they have against Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark? The fact that they're straight and they're white. And so there's a gender thing going on here, or a sexual orientation thing going on here, a racial thing going on here. That is the issue that is happening. And so you got all these players that are now, again, black and gay, who have been assaulting Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark on the basketball court. And for her to, after that hit, only get ejected for the rest of that one game, with 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Okay, so she lost. She didn't get ejected for. She got ejected for all of 3 quarters. Big flippin' deal. So now the black players do have what many people are calling black privilege, because they know that the WNBA won't do anything of any substance about this, so they can just continue to do these things. Take their measly suspensions and go about their day and their season. Remember a while back, Caitlin Clark took a shot in the eye? You know who that was? That was this DeJournay Carrington. Same girl. So the league just, whatever. Sorry that happened, but we're all going to move on. So you don't do anything about the assaults, and so the assaults are not only going to continue, but they're going to escalate. That is what's going on. So this DeJournay Carrington, she hit Caitlin Clark in the eye a while ago. Nothing of substance happened. Now she clotheslines Sophie Cunningham. So what is she going to do next? And by the way, in another travesty, the coach of the Fever, you were talking about this earlier, Joan, the coach of the Fever turned her back on her own player and her own team, saying, well, Carrington, the flagrant foul, it wasn't intentional.
One of the things about Nay is that she's going to play her butt off, man. She's going to compete. Nobody's going to go walking in for a layup. And so I don't oppose the hard foul, but I also don't think that she intentionally went for the net.
What a disgrace. What an absolute
disgrace. You can see Caitlin Clark cringing to her right.
Yes. To
TV right, her left.
Yes. Caitlin Clark is up there, and she's just like, she's cringing. She's got her face in her hands, Caitlin Clark does.
So my question is this. Nobody's protecting these girls.
Nope.
Nobody at all. I mean, they're hanging out here for all to see, and it's so cringy. Isn't there a way, like, can charges be brought against these people? I mean, yeah, it's a game, but if you're intentionally doing this stuff, this seems felonious to me.
Well, coming up, Joan, the Florida Attorney General has actually said, you pull this stuff in Florida, we will bring you up on charges.
There you go.
I've got details on that coming up. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads. WTN.
Cedar Hill, 24 eastbound at Maxey Road. An accident with EMS on the scene.
I would be leaving the team.
24 westbound at 440.
As far as your weather goes, mix of clouds and sun today, high of 94, going to feel like 107, possible thunderstorms in the afternoon. Do you know, part of what's going on is that these girls who are assaulting Sophie and Caitlin, I think that they're unmatched. And by the way, you know what I love about this? Not only as this Carrington clotheslines or assaults Sophie Cunningham as Sophie is going up for a layup, Sophie made the shot. Did you notice that, Joan?
Oh,
now,
I didn't. So
not
much
only
was
did
made
Sophie,
of it.
not only did she make the shot, but the Fever actually won the game.
Good.
So part of what's going on is these black players, they are outmatched. That's part of why they are resorting to, which is part of the reason why they are resorting to assault. And so in this particular play, Carrington had no choice but to assault Sophie to try and prevent her from scoring. And by the way, just because she should. So it is, I akin it to it this way. It's the basketball court version of a leftist calling you a racist because you're winning the argument. Or if someone doesn't like what you're saying, they attack you physically like Antifa. It's the same stuff on the left, right? We see this over and over again. All of this behavior is really consistent with the Democrats. So now, of course, the WNBA is trying to figure out their policy on trans women or men in their sport. Because after all the players and the coaches, they disagreed with Sophie Cunningham when she talked about how men don't belong in women's sports. All the other players and all the other coaches in the WNBA started virtue signaling that they disagreed that men don't belong in their sport. They believe apparently that men do belong in their sport. So now, guess what? Not one, but two former NBA players are willing to put on a wig and come play in the WNBA. I love this.
Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. The rules that represent the very values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for.
This is Enos Freedom.
My team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently, and without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp.
I mean, don't you just love that? So that is Enos Freedom. He spent, I believe, 11 years in the NBA, and people loved him, by the way. From what I understand, he was a very popular player. And you heard what he said. The coaches and the players are advocating for men in women's sports. So give the people what they want, right? That's what Enos Freedom is trying to do. You also have a guy named Royce White, who in looking up this dude's history, he had a very limited career in the NBA, all of 3 games. But he played in Canada and he played overseas. He's very outspoken politically. He was the Republican nominee for Senate in Minnesota, lost to Amy Klobuchar. But he as well is saying, you know what? I want to put on a wig. I want to claim that I'm a woman, and I want to go play in the WNBA.
It's just astounding that the WNBA can't define the W in the name. And I think we're going through a very necessary conversation about who's actually eligible to play in some of these professional sports leagues, I guess on both sides of the gender spectrum. My goal is to help elevate the WNBA. I think the ticket prices and the attendance, will soar. I think the audience, the live audience will increase. And I think ultimately it's good for the game. It's going to help evolve the game. I mean, who would argue that, a player like myself or an Enes Kanter or, in the future, maybe even, I don't know, a LeBron James, after he expires in the NBA, maybe he wakes up one day and realizes he's a woman as well. Who could argue that wouldn't make the women's game better?
I love what they're doing.
Hey, so
I really do.
What's his name? Boyce or Royce?
Royce White.
If he also posted a picture of him in a wig.
He did.
Yeah. Hey,
He
y'all,
did.
my wig arrived.
He's like, this is my first wig. I'm ready to play. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
Yeah.
So, Dad, now the Florida Attorney General, James, is it Uthmeier? Uthmeier, something like that. James Uthmeier has now posted that in Florida, if these players continue to hit the other players like Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark, then he says you will be hit with assault charges. I love that. And by the way, just in, the WNBA commissioner has now announced the league is meeting to review his policy on what a woman is after 2 NBA stars declare for the WNBA draft. So what do you think they're going to do? Because they've all been, again, they've been virtue signaling. And it's almost like they've got Sophie derangement syndrome, right? SDS, Sophie derangement syndrome, because Sophie comes out and says, no, we need to protect women's sports. I don't hate. I'm not hating. Sophie said, I want to protect women's sports, whether we're talking about junior high, high school, or college, or the pros. There's room for all of us, but the WNBA just reflexively, just like they are against, and the Democrats are against Donald Trump reflexively, they say, oh, no. Trans kids belong, and, all of that hysteria. And so I love that 2 men, I guess they're conservative. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But are they conservative? Well, I mean, yeah. Royce White, he ran for the Senate as a Republican. And I don't know about Enes.
So Enes is obviously, he's not originally from this country.
Yeah, but he's got a name like Freedom. He changed it.
He changed it when he became a citizen in 2021.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love that. And you know what? I love that this is the really the new Republican Party, where we at least have people on our side of the aisle who are willing to do things like this, that are willing to call this out as complete BS. And I love the fact that conservatives are finding our voice in these kind of culture issues, the cultural issues, because they're huge. And the vast majority of people in America are on our side on this. And by the way, and Sam, you said off the air, and I'm going to go and say it on the air. You said that if a coach did that, you remember just a few sound bites ago, we said that the coach came out and said, oh, no, it wasn't intentional, when Carrington clotheslined
Cunningham.
Sophie Cunningham, yeah. And it was clearly intentional. And so you said that if that was you would leave the team.
Yeah.
Sophie, you would leave the team. But she's making a lot of money.
Well, you know where they make more money?
Europe.
Yep.
That's the thing. I don't know, Joan, if you were Sophie Cunningham, would you go play in Europe? Because that's what people are saying Caitlin Clark should do. Go play in Europe.
I don't see how it benefits anyone if they run away.
Yeah, Sam.
They stop getting beat up and make more money.
Okay, that's good. But what needs to happen is that the people who are doing it need to be held to account, and the people who are allowing it, like the coaches and the officials, especially those officials. They need to be held to account.
This isn't about the money. This isn't about anything other than, to Joan's point, when bad people get away with doing bad stuff,
Yes.
and Sophie and Caitlin Clark, let's say they went to Europe. The bad guys bad women are getting away with it. They're getting away with assaulting people.
And no white woman will ever be able to play again safely in that league.
No. And here's the other thing. You're right, Joan. And here's the other thing. If you're Caitlin or Sophie, you on the one hand, you want to say, you know what, screw you guys. We're the only thing working in the WNBA, and we're going to go play in Europe, and y'all could just, wither on the vine and die. And by the way, let's not forget that the WNBA, they're not turning a profit. They're getting their funds
from the NBA.
Subsidized. They're getting subsidized by the NBA. So part of this is the dynamic. Okay, WNBA, if this is the way that you're going to be, then go out and make make your own money and see if you can survive on your own. Mm-hmm. Because if they were forced to survive on their own without the subsidies from the NBA, maybe they'd have a different attitude because they would be forced to have players that they can market. And I mean, honestly, if you look at the two most marketable players right now in the WNBA, it is Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. Like it or not, those are the two most marketable players. And the American people clearly, if this is an 80-20 or an 85-15 issue, then the American people don't like the fact that these two are getting beaten up.
So they have turned a profit.
Have they finally?
They finally, I want to say, it was during the 2025 season that they actually hit a net profitability. However, the NBA has a 42% revenue stake and owns that direct 42% equity in the WNBA. So rather gifting money via subsidies to keep the doors open, the NBA now collects 42% of the NBA's gross league-wide revenues as an investor reaping rewards.
So the question is, could they survive without the NBA? Could the WNBA survive without the NBA?
They could, but they could not without Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, because that would be their merchandise, and that would be the reason to put them on TV.
Yeah.
All this controversy is what's getting people to watch.
All right, 6:26. Joan's got the news at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, a child has been shot in Nashville. We've got the latest on that story coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. And Dan Mandis here. And for a lot of you parents, school is back in session. And guess what? That means that you have more time to work on you again, taking walks, maybe a few workouts during the week. Why not a trip to Contours in Cool Springs? They can help you get rid of those love handles that you have hated for years. They can help you. They specialize in red light technology. It is all the rage these days, Contours and red light technology. They have the latest and greatest equipment to help you lose that unwanted fat. That means no pain, no downtime, and yes, with Contours, it does work. So here's what I want you to do. Check out Contours today. And you can find them online, contoursllc.com. That's contoursllc.com. And for a very special price right now of $99, you can get that Belly Buster Special. $99 gets you that Belly Buster Special. First 10 callers right now, 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960. You get that Belly Buster Special for the discounted price of just $99. You can lose 2 inches across the middle. If you don't, it is free. So what have you got to lose but inches? Find them online, contoursllc.com. Dan Mandis here for Window Nation. Listen, if you're thinking about replacing your air conditioner, well, check out your windows first, because drafty windows force your AC to work overtime. New windows from Window Nation. They can help your home become comfortable and reduces the strain on your HVAC. So check out new windows from Window Nation. They can help you get new energy-efficient windows at a great price. Right now, in the month of August, listen to this. You could get 50% off all window styles. Think about how much you can save. Half off all window styles. You could also get 0 down payment and no payments or interest for 2 years. Huge financing options from my friends at Window Nation. That is why they've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Again, 50% off all window styles, massive savings, 0 down payment options, and no payments or interest for 2 years. Window Nation is here to help you. That is why they've got a 96% customer satisfaction rating and over 45,000 5-star reviews. By the way, they are also a proud partner of the Wounded Warrior Project. WindowNation.com. Tell him Dan told you to reach out. WindowNation.com. Dan Mandis here, and back to school time across Middle Tennessee means that busy schedules are back, homework is back, activities are back as well. The last thing you need to deal with and worry about is your HVAC. Let Busy Bee do that for you with big time savings. Now, this month, you schedule any HVAC maintenance or repair, and you get a free dryer vent cleaning. That's added safety and one less thing that you have to worry about. If you need a new HVAC system, you buy a high-efficiency unit, and you'll be entered to win Busy Bee's Healthy Hive giveaway. That is a $1,500 sponsorship for the local school of your choice. You can also gift your favorite teacher or staff member a Beehive membership. You can also get a $500 gift card with qualifying whole home repipes or main line replacements. And with approved credit, enjoy 0% financing for 18 months. They're always looking for ways to help you save. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Good morning, 632. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A 7-year-old girl has been shot in East Nashville as she slept in her bed. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac.
Around 2:30 this morning, investigators say that they were called to a duplex in East Nashville, and they believe that a drive-by shooting happened. They tell us that it looks like the left side of this duplex may have been the target. There were some bullet holes on the second-story window there. But one of those bullets, it did fly into the other side of that home and hit a 7-year-old girl. She's in serious but stable condition this morning, and there were children inside both sides of that duplex when this happened.
So far, no arrests. Police are reviewing doorbell camera video. Hunter Biden said his dad's cancer has spread.
In an interview with the BBC, Hunter Biden says his father's prostate cancer, which had spread to his bones, has now gone further. Hunter Biden says his father's cancer is now very painful and very debilitating, but he says the 83-year-old former president is still out there doing his thing. Asked about this, Biden's office declined to comment.
The former president was diagnosed in May of 25 with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. And a rattlesnake was spotted at Warner Parks in South Nashville over the weekend. Somebody at that park taking video as it slithered across the trail and into the vegetation. Now, I posted that video on X. I'm at Joan Jones WTN. You can see it there. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency says rattlesnakes can be found in nearly every county and region of Tennessee. They're venomous for sure, but they generally avoid humans unless they are provoked. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Well, this, my friends, is awesome. Force on Force training is back at the Glock store. Now, if you don't remember what this is, it is, in a word, intense. It is intense training, real life, live action scenarios that test your marksmanship and split second decision making in real time. So what it really does is this Force on Force training, it determines if you're up to the task of defending yourself and doing it legally and within the bounds of the law. Now, this was huge last time around. So, yes, the Glock store is bringing it back by popular demand. Realize the laws have changed here in Tennessee. And if you're not up to speed, you need to be. Your life and your freedom could depend on it. Force on Force training is only available at the Glock store. I did it. I loved it. Matt did it. Chris did it as well. We all loved it, and you will too. Each session focuses on your safety, Tennessee gun laws, and knowing when the right time is to shoot. It is Force on Force training at the Glock store. Go to their website, glockstore.com/FOF. They've only got 15 openings per session. Reserve yours right now before it sells out. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. That's glockstore.com/FOF. Is Force on Force training only at the Glock store. .636 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here for DT McCall's. By the way, I cannot wait to get Joan's reaction to my next story regarding AOC. So that is coming up on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here for my friends at DT McCall's. They've been helping out Tennesseans for over 100 years with fair prices and outstanding customer service. Now, right now, they've got great deals on all things electronics, appliances, furniture, lawn and garden, and a whole lot more. DTMcCalls.com. You want to check out the website. You know, DT McCall's, they've been saving Middle Tennesseans money for over 100 years. 4 generations of treating people right with a focus on savings and customer service. Now, the first thing I do when I realize that I need something is I go to DTMcCalls.com, the website, check out the latest specials, and typically I'll order right from the website. But if I do have to I have to go see it, I go to the brick and mortar stores and they help me out with terrific customer service. They answer any questions I might have. So if you need anything for your home, your garage, maybe your backyard, you only go to one place, my place. That's DT McCall's. I've got a number of things in my home from DT McCall's, 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, no doubt one near you. And if not, it is worth the drive. Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, DTMcCalls.com. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out.
You got a crash in the Gulch this morning involving injuries. Broadway at 14th Avenue North. Also, Brick Church Pike and Davidson. There's another crash there at Old Hickory Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Joan, I've got great news.
What is
Fantastic news. I don't know if you've noticed, Sam, have you noticed? And I'm not gonna dwell into the details, but I could not be more excited for the radio broadcast today. You know why? I've noticed that there's a lot more hate on the super text line. That means that people are passionately listening, and I love that.
Yeah.
So every nasty gram that I get from some of you folks, it makes my day. And I've got like 5 or 6 of them today. So I think it's great. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being so passionate. And thank you that you feel the need after every single monologue to just start hate texting in real time. It's actually great. Because, you know, there was a time, Joan, when I didn't get this much hate texts or hate mail.
Means they're not listening.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I love that they're listening and they're so passionate, and their little fingers are just, or their thumbs or whatever it is, are just, you know, going. And it's fine. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. So real quick, I want to do a Daily Dan poll, because there are some people, Joan, that are saying that the 2 former WNBA players are, they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, threatening to go into the WNBA. I think it's great. I do. Because what we're doing, what those 2 the NBA players are doing, is they're pointing out the absurdity of the WNBA. It's just like Clay Travis saying, "Okay, listen, I got $10 million, and I want to have the high school team of my choice go against the best of the WNBA, and let's see who wins." So let's do a Daily Dan poll. And how did you frame it?
Should Enes Kanter-Freedom and Royce White keep going?
Keith says, and they're pretty. There's that, because I was talking about, I think, a number of different things. I don't think
beautiful.
I ever... I don't think I commented on their looks, but
Enes
that
and,
too.
and Royce, you think they're pretty?
No, Caitlin and Sophie, actually. And it actually feels a little creepy calling her Sophie, but I got tired of calling her Cunningham, right? Because I don't want to be that old guy that's like...
You don't want to be that old guy.
I don't want to be that old.
You don't want to accept the reality in front of you. Okay.
Anyway, so... Yeah, one guy says, "This is how I know that you don't know anything about sports, Mandis. When you're the best, people come after you." I know that, but actual assault on the basketball court, and when it's happening over and over and over again, you would think that the WNBA would actually finally step in. But they're not. But I've already done that. By the way, 8:05, we're going to speak to our friend David Cohn, who is the guy that I... check in with all things sports, and he and I will talk about that coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Should I frame it as, should Enes Kanter-Freedom and Royce White keep the act up? Because I don't think they're serious.
Well, of course they're not serious. I mean, they're not. I did find it funny that Royce posted that picture, Joan, of him in a wig. Oh, that was so funny.
I loved that. Oh, goodness. I like how much fun they're having with it, because it just shows the ridiculousness of what the WNBA is doing.
The Daily Wire made a whole movie about that with Lady Ballers.
They did?
Yeah.
You know what? I still got to watch that.
I liked Clay Travis's alternate idea. He proposed $10 million to a high school boys team, or let him have an expansion team of just transgendered athletes. I like the other one better.
Listen, if the WNBA was as lightened as they seem to believe that they are, they would allow Clay Travis to do that, right? So...
It's a literal South Park episode.
All right, got some video here. This is AOC. She has made an appearance. Have you noticed that AOC hasn't really been around much in the last probably year or two? You know, you couldn't turn on the shows, the news shows without seeing her for a while. She's kind of taken a back seat, and all of a sudden, a new, dare I say, more somewhat moderate sounding
Grown-up
AOC.
sounding.
Grown-up
Yes.
sounding. That's another way to put it, Joan. Absolutely. She was on, when she was on with Jonathan Karl, she was actually more grown up than he was.
The abolished prisons, abolished police, which is also positions that have been taken by a lot of the progressive candidates who have won. How do you get around that? I mean,
Yeah.
those are not positions that are supported by
Right.
most of
I mean,
America.
I think that a lot of these races, even right now, they'll have a tendency to be nationalized.
Yeah.
But these races ultimately are local, and all politics are local. My understanding is that that Francesca Hong has made clear her present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away from a lot
Right,
of that.
she's
Like,
moved away from it. And I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy.
So I'm a little confused by this. And, granted, it is Monday, so maybe I'm just a little slow today. I know. What's the difference between today and all the other days? I know. The jokes just write themselves on this show. Anyway, the Democratic Socialists of America literally came out with the wokest of woke agenda, where they talked about no borders, no ICE, no police, no prisons. I mean, it goes on and on, right? So no presidency, no Senate. I mean, so you can't say that, the woke one was crazy, because it seems to me like woke two is crazier. Now, here's what's going on, though, Joan. You know what's going on is they're talking about AOC for president.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you see over the weekend, the big story broke? A shocking new poll finds that AOC was tops on the list of New Hampshire voters for president.
Don't you? Okay, so the timing here seems a little iffy to me. She's dropped out of the picture. She's not doing as much, preening in front of the press, crying in front of cages, all of that stuff that she has done in the past, which means that she's been taking time off to get trained on her media presence.
Exactly.
Here's how she needs to act in order to seem presidential. And then all of a sudden, there's a poll that comes out and says, oh, look, AOC is presidential.
So, and there's more to that, and it's coming up. It is 6:45, time to check the roads on WTN.
And Brick Church Pike, we've got an accident at Old Hickory Boulevard. No problems on 65 or 40. I'm Christy O'Brien.
As far as your weather goes, hot today, mix of clouds and sun, high of 94, going to feel like 107. Possible thunderstorms as well. So listen to this polling. In New Hampshire, AOC got 22%. Buttigieg got 21%. Mark Kelly got 9%. Gavin Newsom got 8%. Bernie at 6%. Kamala Harris got all of 5%. Now, this is one poll in New Hampshire, and things get kind of weird out there in New Hampshire. But Sam brought up a great point. Do you remember, Joan, when AOC got humiliated on the world stage at the Munich Security Conference?
Oh, yeah. 'Cause she just blanked.
Yeah, I forget what the question was, but she just completely shanked the answer, and she became a laughingstock.
Yes.
She literally disappeared.
Yes.
I think you're right, Joan. I think that what they're trying to do is they are trying to, number one, make her seem more like an adult. And number two, they're trying to, maybe smarten her up, or at least make her seem smarter.
Yep.
So, apparently what they're trying to do is trying to get her to back away from the more controversial positions that she held years ago in the midst of the campaigns here for the midterm elections and beyond. Because remember, she may be running for president. She may be going after Chuck Schumer's spot in the Senate. We don't really know what she's going to do, but if it's now the left's contention to say that, woke one was crazy and we've moved on beyond that, Well, that flies in the face of the Democrat Socialists of America. So I don't really get what the play is here. They're contradicting themselves. By the way, Jonathan Karl did ask her about the polling. This is what she said.
I'm sure you saw the poll in New Hampshire that had you as the leading candidate, leading choice for Democrats. First, are you going to run for president?
I mean, I'm focused on winning the midterms. I'm running for Congress right now.
But I mean, do you see this as something? I know you said you're open to it. Is it a realistic possibility for you?
I haven't ruled out the possibility, and I'm very humbled to the tremendous amount of support out there. I think that we have a responsibility to remain focused on the midterms and not on our individual aspirations or plans.
And running for Senate against Chuck Schumer, is that also something that's possible?
I mean, I think that anything is possible at this juncture.
So I like how Karl is, he's kind of trying to push her a little bit, and she's just not going to go there. But I think that you're right, Joan. This whole thing is about really trying to create, because remember, she's a creation. AOC was a bartender.
Absolutely.
And they created her into this politician that ultimately was able to primary one of the longest running Democrats in New York. I forget the guy's name, but they created her essentially out of being a bartender, and the whole thing's online. They documented the whole thing. So they're doing the same thing now as she prepares for a run for the Senate and then perhaps the presidency at some point.
Didn't they do the same thing with Obama? He was a community organizer.
Yeah.
And they shaped and created this guy who can speak to the masses and gets elected to the Senate, to the presidency. Yeah.
She's still struggling with that part of it.
I'll start last to first. I think this is a moment where we are seeing our presidential administration tear apart the transatlantic partnership, rip up every democratic norm.
That was from the Munich Security Conference.
I don't even remember what the question was.
Yeah.
So
neither do the people in the audience. They're kind of rolling their eyes and shrugging their shoulders as to what that has to do with the question that was at hand at that time.
Yeah, that was definitely a bad moment for her. So I want you to listen to, because we've all been talking about, everybody's talking about this Hassan Piker, right? So Hassan Piker, if you're just figuring out Nashville's morning news and talk radio, basically Hassan Piker is anti-American. He has said that America deserved 9/11. He's got a framed photograph of the New York Times from September 12th. Do you know what he calls that, Sam? He calls that, I think it's his Cinderella photo.
What?
That's what he calls it. If you chat GPT Hassan Piker and the photograph from the cover of the New York Times on September 12th, documenting what happened on the 11th, he calls it like his Cinderella photo or something like that. He cherishes this photo because he has, of course, in the past talked about how America deserved 9/11. So she was asked about this. AOC was asked about this by Jonathan Karl. I want you to listen, though. This goes to your point, Joan, about how she's been going through some media training where she sort of deftly tries to maneuver around the conversation about Hassan Piker.
Is he somebody that should have a role in the progressive movement going forward?
I think when we look at our elections that have happened, we have lost young people. Much hay was made about the fact that we lost young men in the last election. And many of the same consultants that are wringing their hands today were the same ones talking about how we need to go on Joe Rogan and we need to be not so, willing to engage in cancel culture. And I think that the flip-flopping on this is a tactical debate that they may be having.
So I don't know if she was intentionally trying to compare Joe Rogan to Hassan Piker, but that is a huge difference between the two. And so for her, if she doesn't know the difference, well, then she hasn't gained any smarts. But Rogan, he'll call out Donald Trump all the time. He doesn't necessarily identify as a Republican, although we do share some of the same causes. So she doesn't really, Sam, answer the question.
Well, and I think the thing she's worked on the most, and you can see her brain literally firing on all cylinders not to do it. She's avoiding the ums. Any public speaking class, you cover how to not your way through a monologue. And so she is just ramping the RPMs up to 5,000 in her brain to try to keep her, don't say don't say don't say get to your next thought.
But she doesn't really make a lot of sense, though.
Exactly, because she's preoccupied telling herself not to say
Well, and then there was this moment during the Jonathan Karl interview.
I think the fact of the matter is that Democrats can go on Joe Rogan, Democrats can go on Fox News, Democrats have a responsibility to build a winning coalition, and young people are engaging in mediums and conversations that we have a responsibility to attend to and be responsive to. And even right now, when we look at this insurgent wave of what is happening, oftentimes when people are doing that Monday morning quarterbacking and what demographics voted where, the big one that's being ignored is the generational tidal wave. Tsunami.
I mean, you see it in the polling. It is significant.
Millennials are not, punk kids anymore.
Yeah.
We're grown adults with mortgages and kids.
Are they really, though?
No, they're still.
Are they really?
What?
I mean, I look at that Hong, who wants to be the governor for Wisconsin. She does not act like or say adult things. She just doesn't. So for the Democrats, I mean, clearly, and that plays right into what we were talking about earlier. They're trying to make AOC look more like an adult.
All right, everyone. Deco and I, day one of freezing my eggs.
Yep, that part of the story.
See, this is what makes me so mad.
That part of the story is coming up on Super Talk 99.7, 6:55. Joan's got the news coming up at 7 o'clock. Joan.
Yeah, former local teacher is headed to court today. We've got the details on who it is and why. Coming up at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It is 6:56 now. Whether we're talking about waterproofing, concrete leveling, or foundation repair, my friends at USS, they are the absolute best here in Middle Tennessee. Now, these types of issues, they don't get better over time. They actually get worse without the proper fix. Now, you know that, they know that, and they, USS, are here to help you. Now, they've helped me over the years with my foundation. I can tell you from personal experience that they treated me right. Communication was outstanding. The work was excellent, and customer service was absolutely top-notch. Now, these folks at USS, United Structural Systems, they've been helping Middle Tennesseans for a long time because they do it right. They will treat you right. And if you don't have the money to get things fixed right now, well, they can help you with that as well. Special financing for a limited time. Get a 10% discount when you pay in full, or fix it now, pay it later. With 18 months, no payment, no interest, or you can choose the 36 months, no interest with low payment options for qualified homeowners. So USS, they're here to help you. Call them, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out at 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. Dan Mandis here from Mark Spain Real Estate. If you are stuck in a home that you can't sell, call Mark Spain. If your open houses are being ignored, call Mark Spain. If you are tired of making those costly repairs while your home goes unsold, you've got to pick up the phone. You've got to call Mark Spain. Their guaranteed offer does keep you in control. You're going to go out there and you're going to get out of your home fast and with maximum profit. It is part of their guaranteed offer. Mark Spain Real Estate, they've got over 72,000 clients. They are the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. 13,000 five-star reviews cannot be wrong. Mark Spain Real Estate is the company that I recommend for selling your home. Call them right now and get out of your home fast and move on to the next chapter in your life. The phone number, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD for Mark Spain Real Estate. MarkSpain.com is the website. Go there, MarkSpain.com, to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Good morning. It's now 7 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got your forecast and traffic coming up in 5. Iran is moving the goalpost again, saying now that it wants billions of dollars in U.S. payments, the removal of American troops from the region, and an end of the U.S. naval blockade.
It is a long list there. They're saying that not only does the U.S. have to let up on its blockade, not only does the U.S. have to pay reparations for damages caused by the war effort, it also has to agree to stop saying anything negative about the Iranian regime, that it's got to take all forces out of the Middle East writ large.
President Trump signaling he's shifting to economic pressures. He's prepared, he says, to wait for economic distress to mount in Iran in an effort to collapse the government. Flooding hitting parts of Middle Tennessee over the weekend. Some in Franklin are still cleaning up after flash flooding along a Warrior Drive. Channel 4's Braden Ross spoke to some of those neighbors.
You come back, man, it was flooded out. The bridge was about flowed out, too.
Joseph and Caroline Sustorf live next door and say they came back from a nice dinner to find the creek behind their home was overflowing and filling their backyard with rushing water.
Yeah, it was probably, I'd say 3 to 4 feet. What it was.
That's also when they saw the emergency lights down the street. We talked to those neighbors. They say Williamson County Fire and Rescue and other agencies started the process of a water rescue, but stopped when the water started receding from their home.
Now, the flooding, she says, only lasted for about 30 minutes, but it did cause extensive damage. The Montgomery Central High School teacher who has been charged with showing naked photos of himself to a student is due in court today. Here's Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter.
Matthew Vetter is accused of showing the photos to a student at Montgomery Central High School back in March. According to police, Vetter said he showed those photos by accident while scrolling through his phone.
Vetter's charged with 4 counts of supplying obscene material to a minor. Montgomery County Police arrested him 4 months after the incident. And Ben Jones has died. You'll remember him as Cooter on The Dukes of Hazzard.
Breaker one. Might be crazy, but I ain't dumb. Crazy Cooter coming at you. Anybody home on the Hazard net?
Yeah, Ben Jones was also a congressman from Georgia, serving 2 terms. Jones suffered a heart attack at home in his favorite chair. According to his wife, he was 84 years old. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. And stock futures this morning mixed, with the Dow futures down 65. The NASDAQ futures are up 25. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. There's a crash in the Gulch at Broadway and 14th Avenue North, one in Donaldson on Elm Hill Pike at Briley Parkway, and a stalled-out vehicle on 24 West at I-440 in Woodbine. The left shoulder has been blocked off by it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706 Nashville's Morning News, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Do you know what's interesting, Joan? With all of this negativity on the WNBA, do you remember, I'm almost ashamed to admit this, but do you remember was it about a year ago, I had that guy on to talk about getting the WNBA here in Nashville?
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And I gave him a couple of segments. I forget who it was. But I was like, okay, well, I can see, why people would want the WNBA. I have no interest in wanting the WNBA in Nashville based on their treatment of Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, but you can bet that Freddie is out there probably laying down his life trying to get the WNBA.
Oh, they would love to get
going in another direction there, Joan.
Yeah, well, I was going to, and I just...
They would love the WNBA. So, I could do a silly Daily Dan poll. Do you want the WNBA here? That would be a 100% no.
Yeah, no.
So I'm not going to insult your intelligence. By the way, speaking of YouTube, Watch us on YouTube if you would. You can watch us any time of the day, any time of the night. Our show ends at, 9? Yes, our show ends at 9, and then you can watch it anytime after that on delay at your leisure. You can also download the segments as well if you want to podcast it, whatever. We're all over the place if you want to find the radio show.
You know, you got a really nice comment here on the super text line.
I did.
You did. And by the way, the super text line is 615-737-9986. Let me throw this in. 1384 said, "Good morning, Joan. Good morning, everyone. Well, Dan, you're doing a great job as usual. Thank you." Isn't that nice?
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
A guy was dogpiling on me on the YouTube chat. Sam was telling me.
Yeah.
Some
That's
guys.
why I wanted to make sure you knew that people love you.
Oh, and doggone it. Yeah, people like me. So guy said something about me being stuck in Nashville.
Yeah, he tried to equate AOC's career to yours and that how she's on a national platform, which, by the way, Dan Mandis does national shows, all right? But as soon as I pointed out the logical fallacy and the fact that she was a hand-chosen vessel of stupidity, and comparing that to someone who's actually worked for what he has is both an insult and completely irrelevant to the argument at hand. And then everyone in the chat decided to dogpile on top of my comments, and so that's mob mentality, folks.
There you go. If you want to take part in the fun, go ahead. It's watch us on YouTube, and there you go. And by the way, just for the record, and I've said this many times, I'm not stuck in Nashville. I'd be willing to bet that all of us here at WTN have had other offers, and I certainly have.
I do not want to move to Memphis.
I choose to stay in Tennessee because I love Tennessee. I love WTN. It is a great place to work, and I married a Tennessee girl, and I love it here, which is why I choose to stay. I'm a Tennessean, Joan, by choice, and so are you, by the way, Joan.
Yep, I sure am.
All right, so real quick, I need some video, if I could, Sam. So just to where we left off.
All right, everyone. Deco and I, day one of freezing my eggs.
So apparently now AOC, just real quick, I don't want to dwell on this, but AOC has now decided to freeze her eggs at the age of 37. Now, here's what I think is going on, because she did this whole live stream or video at the like day one of the process of freezing her eggs. Yeah. So she's basically saying that she wants to be able to run for office, higher office, and preserve the ability to have kids later. She is saying that she wants to have control over her life. And of course, she had to do it all on video and post it because nothing is private. But I'm just very cynical about all of this. Like, why is she doing this? She's doing this because she wants to run for, in my opinion, the presidency eventually, but she's worried about the stigma of being a 37-year-old female and not having kids. I think that's what this is all about. There are people out there, moms, by the way, and people, generally speaking, who say that they would never vote for a woman who's not a mother. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I'm telling you that there has been polling out there that shows that they wouldn't vote for a woman who is childless because they can't relate, a childless woman can't relate to having to raise a child. It is, it's my opinion, Joan. If you're somebody that has a daughter, I've got a daughter and she played sports. If you have a daughter who played sports and you still believe that men should be in women's sports, then you are so deranged and delusional, you have no soul.
Yep.
So people like AOC, she's got no kids. I don't know about Ilhan Omar and some of these other wackadoodles, but you've got these folks that don't have any kids, and they're out there saying, men should be able to play in women's sports. Well, they can't relate to being a parent. And so I understand why people say that. And so for me, I think what she's trying to do is she's trying to say, listen, I know that I'm not married. I know that I don't have any kids, but I'm in a struggle, and the struggle is real. And so I'm trying to have kids at some point. In other words, she's trying to relate to those females who have kids and are saying, listen, I plan on doing it eventually. Now, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong that there are people in this country who would not vote for a female that does not have any kids. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but there are people that would say that because they can't relate to raising a family. They can't relate to having to deal with a child going to school and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, and it's also not just the relating aspect, but it's proof that you've got skin in the game, right? You have a reason that you want whatever your policies and plans are to succeed because you're raising it. It's going to be coming up behind you and eventually being the head of the household. So it's an investment in the future as well, and it's part societal investment. So when people see happy families and kids about, you kind of all feel on the same page that we're going to make it a better place for them.
And why would she then, and to your point, Sam and Joan, why would she do this publicly?
Exactly.
Why would she? Because I don't know exactly what she was doing. I didn't dwell on the video because I didn't want to see it. But, I mean, I think she was like giving herself a shot or something.
She did. She shot herself on the belly with something. And then she talked about, what gets shot first. And
hormone cycle, probably.
There's so, it's so creepy that she needs to share this. It's oversharing. And nobody wants to see it, honey. Just put it away.
And it's not normal. So if you're
No.
a couple and you're struggling to conceive and the doctor's got recommendations for hormone injections or something, and you feel like sharing that to your social media as your journey, that's all, in my book, fine, well, and good. That's normal. But a single woman who's got no real plans or prospects, making a whole big hullabaloo about it, that's weird.
Well, she's been with the same dude for a long time.
I think they're engaged.
Do you remember the guy, Joan? Were you working on the show when there was a video of she and the dude, and he was wearing socks with Birkenstocks?
Yeah.
Wait, were you on the show at that point?
I don't think so, but I remember that.
Even me and Ken and Johnny knew that is a fashion faux pas to wear socks with Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
That is a fashion faux pas, right?
Oh,
I think it is.
Major.
If you leave
fashion.
the house. If you leave the house in it.
And it's like, okay, so I think we said something about, is AOC so busy that she can't tell her boyfriend not to wear socks with Birkenstocks? Because you're not supposed to.
She probably likes it.
Do you think she's got a socks with Birkenstocks fetish, do you, Joan?
Well, I think she probably doesn't want to see his feet.
That's right.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Cover those toes.
Yeah.
You know what? As the woman, and clearly she's got to be the driver in that relationship, if you know what I mean, she should just buy him, a pair of sneakers and socks and be done with it.
Yeah.
That's what she probably should do. But wearing I can guarantee you, if you've got the super text line open, people are saying, what is wrong with wearing socks with Birkenstocks? If you have to ask, you need to stop.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
O'Brien.
7:16, Nashville's Morning News. By the way, coming up at 7:35, I'm really looking forward to this next interview. You know that, John Rich, we've been talking, Joan, about the plight of the Nashville bars, down on Broadway and these businesses.
Yeah.
And how the Freddie O'Connell, came in. They had their property values were reassessed. Property values went through the roof, and therefore the property taxes went through the roof as well. There is now a movement among these bar owners and the restaurant owners in downtown Nashville and Broadway and so forth. They had a weekend meeting apparently with Cameron Sexton, Speaker of the Tennessee House of Representatives, Jack Johnson, the Senate Majority Leader here in Tennessee, and I think maybe Governor Lee was there. And in my opinion, future Governor Marsha Blackburn is all for this conversation as well. But they're all getting together and saying, you have got to help us. And John Rich, of course, we all love John Rich around here. He's going to be on with Murphy's show coming up at 4:35, as a matter of fact. But I've got the guy that is leading that coalition coming up at 7:35. And so he's going to tell us exactly what happened in the meeting. But even more than that, he's going to give us, guy's name is Barrett Hobbs. He's been on the show before. he's going to tell us about how desperate these bar owners are and some of the increases in these property taxes. The last time we talked about this, they were all en masse trying to get their property taxes reassessed by the city, I guess. And I'm going to find out how many of those property owners were able to, get their property taxes reassessed so that they wouldn't, all of a sudden have to come up with another $500,000. Because, and one of the things that John Rich said is Sam, help me. We've got the Super Bowl. Is it in 2027 or 2028?
2030.
2030. So, John Rich was saying we've got the Super Bowl coming up in a few years. What's going to happen if Broadway, you've got a bunch of empty storefronts?
But Dan, they'll all be replaced by businesses that share the values of the Metro City Council.
See, that's the question. One of the questions that I'm going to ask Barrett Hobbs, because remember, one of the things that I said when all of this was going down was, is it possible that Metro City Council and old Freddie there, they don't like country music? They don't like the classic country bars because, by and large, maybe there's this perception that country music is not only liberal, but also, Christian. And maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But I'm going to ask Barrett Hobbs about these things because these bar owners, they're getting desperate. And one of the things that John Rich said was that at this meeting, when they're meeting with Jack Johnson and Cameron Sexton, guys were crying. Property owners and bar owners, they were crying because they were about to lose their business. I mean, imagine investing your life savings in a bar or in a downtown Broadway restaurant, and then here comes old, Freddie O'Connell and his, his administration, and suddenly, your property values are reassessed. They go way up, and now you're stuck with having to come up with another, $400,000 or $500,000 that you've got to pay in property taxes, and you're going to lose your investment. It's awful. And so Freddie O'Connell and people of his ilk are like, well, you could just sell your property. Well, they don't want to sell the property because this is their life's work. And so it's really sad for people who have invested their life savings into these bars and these restaurants, and they're going to have to be forced to sell it. And then the question is, who's going to buy it? Also, some sad news. Can I just say this? So when I was a kid, I was a huge Los Angeles Dodgers fan. Huge Los Angeles Dodgers fan. And so I would go on the occasional Sunday. And it would be, I don't know if they still do this at Dodger Stadium, but the Dodgers would be in the corridors of Dodger Stadium, the concourse, I guess, whatever. And the players would be there signing baseballs.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
It was amazing. And so I remember in my head, I remember Tommy John. No, he's not dead. I would remember Tommy John. I would beg my dad to take me to Dodger Stadium on these autograph Sundays so that I could get autographs of my favorite players. And Tommy John was one of my favorite players when I was a kid. And so not only did I get Tommy John's autograph, but I also got to talk to him for a few minutes as just a little kid. And it is a memory that sticks out that he took the time, as he's got a big, long line of people, he took the time to spend a couple of minutes talking to a really nerdy, I don't know how old I was, but a really nerdy little kid getting his autograph.
10 or so?
I don't know how old I was. I was really young. And
was his signature different after surgery?
Yeah, so was it named after him, that surgery?
The Tommy John surgery, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I've told this story, by the way, about that baseball. By the way, just real quick, Tommy John basically has now put out a message. I read his book, by the way. It's a great book. I forget what it's called. I just saw this, so I'm reacting to this instantly. But he's now 83 years old, Tommy John, and he has posted that he is saying goodbye because he is battling some health issues in Florida. So very sad. Tommy John. So I had this baseball, and I had Davy Lopes, Tommy John, Dusty Baker, Ron Say, and I think Steve Garvey had all signed this baseball. So in my 20s, right, I'm totally now disconnected with baseball, but I go out on a date with a girl who says to me, hey, I love baseball, so why don't we go to the park and we can play catch? I don't have a baseball, right? I got a glove, but I don't have a baseball. So Numbskull here decides that I'm going to go and get my autograph-laden baseball with all of these great Los Angeles Dodgers, and that's what we're going to play baseball with. Joan, what do you think happened to that ball?
Lost.
We are at the, I don't remember what you call it, but it's like the space thing in Los Angeles. It's not the Arboretum, but it's something. But it's up in the hills.
Okay.
So we're playing catch, right? Because she was gorgeous. I mean, it was like, yeah, sure, I'll do this. You know, the things you do when you're in your early 20s for, anyway.
Also, if there's a ledge, I'll jump off of it.
So she throws this ball, and it's a bad throw. I miss it. And not only does it go in the bushes, but it goes down a foothill and all the way, and I lost it. I lost my baseball with all of those great LA Dodgers on it. And beyond that, she wouldn't go out with me a second time. And I said to her, I said, really? So not only did you lose my baseball with that suck-ass throw, but you won't go out with me a second time? Really?
Baseball that's probably now valued at around a few $1,000s.
It would be. It would be, because it was most, Bill Russell, the shortstop, was on that baseball as well.
That's who everyone
So where did
remembers
it
when they
go?
hear
Like,
Bill
where
Russell.
did it go? What?
It went down into the foothills. In the bushes, beyond the bushes was the foothills, and it went down the hill. And I wasn't going to go down the hill because I'd probably fall and hurt myself because, you know, I'm me. And that would track with me going out on a date in my early 20s. Anyway, whatever. It is 7:25, and Joan's got the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, flock cameras helped to capture a wanted Tennessee man. They captured him in New Jersey. That's coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:25, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Times are tough these days, my friend. If you need a new vehicle, you've got to check out my friends at Mid-10 Ford. Now, this is a great company, family-owned company. They've been around forever, 56 years, since 1969, helping people get the vehicle that is right for them. Now, at Mid-10 Ford, right now, you can save $1,000 or more on select Ford trucks. Again, they've got a great selection and terrific pricing as well. Always trying to help you out in these tough times. Mid-10 Ford, again, they've been around a long time. They always are offering special financing if you need it. Now, they are a one-stop shop, as we like to say, Mid-10 Ford. You can buy your vehicle there. You can get it serviced. They even have a body shop, too, brand new or pre-owned. You can check out all the great deals at their website, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. They offer low-pressure sales, maximum customer service as well. This is a family-owned business going back 4 generations. So they know how to treat customers. They know how to treat you. They are going to help you. So let them help you get into your next car, truck, or SUV. Stop by. It's 1319 Foster Avenue. Call them 615-259-2050. Find them online, mid10fordtrucks.com, or follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Mid-10 Ford, where trust comes first. Let their family take care of your family.
Good morning. It's now 7:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And a man who had been wanted in Jefferson County on a child rape charge has been captured in New Jersey thanks to a flock camera. Toyin Patterson's car had been flagged in New Jersey. An officer pulled it over and arrested him without incident. Now, that car and the license plate information had been added to the flock system on Friday, not long before the cameras flagged him. The company accused of selling lettuce that caused an outbreak of cyclosporiasis has a personnel problem now, too. Taylor Farms has sued the president of its Tennessee subsidiary, claiming that he stole more than $32 million to fund a lavish lifestyle. Brian Thor is accused of using fraudulent vendor charges, reimbursements, and the use of company credit cards for his own gain. He and his wife allegedly purchased a $1 million home in Hawaii, then donated it to the Middle Tennessee Christian School in Murfreesboro for fundraising purposes, according to that lawsuit. Brian Thur is said to have confessed and apologized to Taylor Farms. Meantime, there are some new food recalls over an ongoing salmonella outbreak in 24 states. The USDA says meat products that contain recalled jalapenos that were sold at Kroger, Walmart, Albertsons, and other grocery stores. That warning comes on the heels of the lettuce recall linked to that cyclosporiasis.
According to the CDC and federal officials, the supplier from Taylor Farms, that has been stopped. And the best buyer, the sell date for the lettuce that was involved, that's all been recalled, and it should be off of shelves. If you have it in your kitchen for some reason, throw that out. So according to these reports, it is safe now to eat lettuce, but it's important to note that not every case of cyclosporiasis has been tied to this iceberg lettuce.
ABC News medical contributor Dr. Alok Patel. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Pick a Jones, 7:33. Dan Mandis here. The summer heat can wear anybody out, but if you've been feeling drained, even with the air conditioning, it may not just be the heat. Now, 1 in 4 men from the age of 35 to 60 has low testosterone and low levels of energy, sex drive, motivation, mood, and a whole lot more. Now, low T, it drains your energy and it drains your motivation as well. So you don't have energy for the things you love and might even stop recognizing yourself. So get the answers you need this summer for free. At Low T Center, you can book a free testosterone test and get a consultation from licensed providers who specialize in testosterone replacement therapy. Explore a range of peptides and even get a jump on that summer body with GLP-1s and medical weight loss protocols. Low T Center has been the #1 name in TRT since 2009 for a reason. So don't spend another day wondering why you don't feel like yourself. Visit fixmylowt.com to schedule your free testosterone test today. That's fixmylowt.com.
It's a crash on the South Loop this morning. I-40 westbound, the on-ramp from I-65 south. The on-ramp right lane has been blocked. In Donaldson, Elm Hill Pike at Briley Parkway, that's where you'll find a crash. Watch it in Clarksville this morning. They're saying that there is a lot of traffic signals that are affected by a power outage. Some 3,000 customers in Clarksville are without power this morning. Also, 24 eastbound in Glen Cliff. It's a stalled out vehicle in the right lane, and an accident in Smyrna on the eastbound side of 24 at Sam Ridley Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into your Monday. It is August 10th. Mix of clouds and sun today, high of 94. Going to feel like 107 possible storms this afternoon. You know, the plight of business owners in downtown and lower Broadway, it is pretty dire because of the massive increase in property taxes. Imagine a downtown Broadway without local bars and without honky-tonks. Now, these are the places that do make Nashville great, and we've been talking about this for a long time. Now, Barrett Hobbs is joining us. Now, Barrett, you are a fourth-generation Nashvillian. You own a couple of honky-tonks, and you're founding member of the Broadway Entertainment Division. So let's talk about this coalition, if you will, of bar owners that have been talking to people like Cameron Sexton and also Jack Johnson and the governor, apparently.
Yeah, well, Dan, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I was fortunate to be a part of the Broadway Entertainment Association. We formed it a few years ago just to try to get the owners all together. So when we have something that's a positive, we can shine a light on it. And if we have an issue, it kind of gave us one voice instead of all of us trying to have multiple conversations. When we formed it, we had no idea that this type of a tsunami issue would be what's really going to test our future.
Well, let's talk about that. So one of the figures that I saw was that property taxes on businesses had gone up around 45% because of these reappraisals. Put that in real numbers for me. So in other words, some of these owners, their property taxes went up hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and I think that figure is an accurate figure, but it's more of an average of the downtown area. When you really hone in on the tourist area, more of the average is 250%. So to kind of give your listeners an idea of what that means, I'll give you one specific business that's not even on Broadway. It's on 3rd, about a half a block or a block off of Broadway. And 2 years ago, their building was valued at $9.9 million. When Vivian Wilhoit, our current tax assessor, valued it this time, it moved from $9.9 million to $57 million, and nothing happened to the building. They didn't add on, they didn't paint it. It's the same building, same address, same owner. So taking that down to a business number, without getting too far into the weeds, that took their property tax was already annually $130,000 a year for a simple, reasonable sized live music venue. They were paying $130K a year. Now they owe $650,000 a year. And what the average person doesn't probably get, because the perception is, oh man, these guys and girls down there, they're just rolling in the money. What we are is a tax collector building with neon on it. So this business is now going to have to spend $650,000 a year, which is over $50,000 a month just for the property taxes. Then we have a downtown central business district tax that gets added on top of that, and a business development fund that funds tourism and cleans our streets and picks our trash up, because the city doesn't provide those services anymore. We have to pay an extra fund to have our sidewalks cleaned. So it doesn't just end with the $50,000. And then on top of that, they take 25% of every drink goes into liquor by the drink tax. So if a drink is $10, the first $2.50 goes back to the state and the city. So it's just one tax after another. And I don't think the average person realizes where we're at.
Well, I will tell you, Barrett, that people that listen to this show do know because we've been talking about it. This is horrendous. How do they go from 9 million to 50 million? Is it your assertion that these property values are being sort of artificially inflated so that they can collect more taxes?
Yes and no. Certainly, I think our city, if you look back over the last decade, our budget has doubled. You know, we went from tripled. We went somewhere around $1.2 billion as a city. Now we're exceeding $3 billion. So at some point, you've got to realize your household has a spending problem. And we don't have a revenue problem if you look at the tax collections. Two things can be true. The formula that Vivian and the tax assessor's office used can be legally accurate, but at the same time, it can be screwed up and antiquated and not correct. And so to answer your question, basically what they do is they cut and paste. They take a building like the Four Seasons Hotel that is 20 or 30 stories tall, and they say, okay, by square foot, this building is worth this. So let's just say they say that's $1,000 a square foot, and the hotel is 300,000 square feet. They take that same math and they go next door to a honky tonk, and they use the same formula. You know, the multiplier is the same. There's no differing formula for a different business model. So, you know, no honky tonk or restaurant or bar or normal retail store down there can build a 30-story building to spread revenue out from ground one to the 30th story. It just doesn't, that business model doesn't work. So, you know, the comptroller was brought in to look at her evaluations and, you know, found that they were accurate, but it doesn't mean it's right. It just means her calculator was accurate, not necessarily the system.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're sort of by the booking it, if you will, and not taking the entire situation into context. By the way, Barrett Hobbs is joining us, founding member of the Broadway Entertainment Association. A bunch of bar owners and business owners got together, and it's all of one voice. So let me ask you this, Barrett, because, you know, you guys, to do this, you're either going to have to eliminate jobs, raise prices, trying to figure out a way to survive. I know that there are a lot of business owners that were going through the appeals process, which you're allowed to do. Has the city been sort of acquiescing on the appeals process? Is anybody winning these appeals? How long is it taking? How's that going?
Well, kind of hit me with two questions there. So the first on eliminating jobs and raising prices. We already get drilled in the media for having high prices, but I think that's, you know, I've shown there's reasons why we have to charge that for real estate rent and cost of goods and entertainment and so on and so forth. So the quick answer to your first question is we can't raise our prices or cut staff. This is a street killer. This is bankruptcy for probably 40 to 50% of what most people recognize as Broadway. So we can't move the chairs around on the Titanic, you know, and keep it afloat. We're done if this stays where it is. I'm sorry, what was your second part of that?
You folks have been going through well, first I'm going to ask you this.
Appeals.
Hold on. No. We're going to ask you about the appeals process, but I got to check traffic real quick for 15 seconds on Super Talk 99.7.
Before Briley Parkway South, disabled vehicle blocks the right exit lane. I'm Christy O'Brien.
Clouds and sun today, high of 94, going to feel like 107, possible storms this afternoon. All right, so Barrett, the Talk about the appeals process. How long is that taking, and are business owners actually winning the appeals process?
The short answer is most haven't even been able to appeal yet because there was not adequate preparation, even though we've told everybody for 2 years that we recognized the problem was coming. They didn't add more appeals people in time. And so most of the folks haven't even had a chance for their hearing yet, but the folks that have, very few, none of them are winning, or they might knock off, a little bit. But when you're going up on somebody from 130,000 to 650, even if they knock 30% off of that, it's an egregious amount of money, and no business in our industry can price themselves to cover that. To give you an exact example, I appealed my appeal. I won't hear my appeal or get a chance to until next year's taxes are due. So that tells you how screwed up the system is. And all along, we're acquiring interest and penalties. So then once you do get your appeal, if you don't win it 100%, A, you lose, and then B, they say, well, now you owe all these interest and penalties on top of it. So it's a terrible situation.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell, I remember at the time, Mayor Freddie O'Connell, his basic reply was, well, too bad. He didn't really seem much interested in helping. The property assessor said she just ran the numbers, and they are what they are. Is Metro Council, have they been involved in any of this?
No. They're starting to hear, we're starting to hear from a few of them now because of, right now on Broadway, there's 6 of the music venues for sale. Some of them are out publicly, some are private. Most of them have been for sale for 2 years. In my history of being down there, there's never really one for sale, or you'll get one that'll flip, but it doesn't go on the market. These are openly on the market. So I think people at the beginning of this thought we were, the sky's falling or crying wolf. And they're starting to see that, the city and the state's budget is directly tied to the success of Broadway. It's way far more reaching than what people realize.
So, Barrett, what's going to happen if, bar owners have to sell? Who is it that would be buying up these properties?
Nobody at these rates, or you would find some publicly traded companies, like a McDonald's or something, or a Walgreens, that might want to use the street as a billboard, but not actually a profit center. And the problem is most people probably don't realize how bad that would be. Number one, people don't come to Nashville to see a McDonald's or a Walgreens on Broadway. That's not what they're here for. So your tourism's going to take a hit. Secondly, most people don't realize that the liquor by the drink tax, the state collects about $230 million a year, and 75% of that money goes to the school systems. The state pushes it back down to the local, and then the local gets a portion of it wherever the drink was generated. So if you're in Wilson County listening today, let's say, or any other county in the state of Tennessee, the taxes that are collected on Broadway from this past weekend are paying for your schools. So if these businesses go down and McDonald's comes in, the city of Nashville might get some property tax collections, but they don't pay liquor by the drink.
Right.
So the schools get gutted. Here's just a quick number. 57% of the city of Nashville's budget is tied to tourism. 57%. So round that to 60. If tourism takes a big hit, everybody's upset about property taxes. You think you got bad property taxes now. Take away the sales tax and liquor by the drink tax from the honky-tonks, and you think the city's going to cut their budget? They're not. They're just going to raise it on every other business in town.
Well, and the other thing is Nashville would lose a big part of our identity, and some people don't care about that. I do, and I know that Barrett Hobbs, you do as well. So you're part of this coalition, bar and restaurant owners, and so you're now looking for help from the state legislature, the governor as well. John Rich is involved. I love John Rich. We love him here on WTN. He's going to be on with Murphy Show, by the way, 4:35 later today to talk about this as well. There was a meeting the other day. Who was there and what was discussed? You had Jack Johnson, the Senate Majority Leader. You had Cameron Sexton, the House, the Speaker of the Tennessee House. Was the governor there? And ultimately, what's the plan moving forward?
No, there was a meeting, and it was with the probably 80% of the live music venue owners were there. Speaker Sexton actually is the one that set the meeting up for us to come in and really try to figure out where we are. And after that meeting, several of us reached out to Senator Jack Johnson, and he said he's in.
Okay.
And then the speaker reached out to the governor. I've had conversations with the governor's office since. Everybody realizes that we're all in this together. And I have to say, from when our first numbers came in, Speaker Sexton has really been the only elected official that has we've probably met 20 times trying to find a solution, and we're still struggling with that. But the governor's office has been very forthcoming in wanting to help, and Jack Johnson's a great guitar player himself. So the senator certainly understands the importance of keeping the music in our city.
Well, hopefully there will be some progress with this. I know that this is critically important to you, the bar owners and the restaurant owners in Nashville. How did John Rich get involved? Was that sort of just organic? Did you guys ask him for the help? I mean, clearly he is.
He's been a member of the Broadway Entertainment Association since its beginning. So he's been with us all along, and now we've got all hands on deck. I mean, it's we're at a different spot than we were even 6 months ago. We're looking at imminent closures in the next 60 to 90 days if there's not some type of negotiated relief that will allow people to go back to their banks or wherever to get a financial reset. But we're in big trouble, And where we go, a lot of revenue for this state goes. Interestingly, we've got 95 counties, and you take all 94 of those counties out of the 95, and you add them all together, Davidson County pays more in liquor by the drink tax to the state than all 94 counties combined.
Wow.
It's a staggering number, and about 75% of that money is generated in about an 8-block area around Broadway.
That's crazy. That is, but that's what again. That's what makes Nashville Nashville. So
it's the train.
We gotta save our bars, save the restaurants. And Barrett Hobbs, very much appreciate you joining us. Barrett, is there a website, or if somebody's listening, they've got an idea, they want to help you guys, is there a way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, probably the best way is to go through the Broadway Entertainment Association. We've got, you can just type that in and you'll find, ways to reach out to us. The biggest way anyone could help would be to reach out to their state senators and House of Representative members and say, don't let the music die on Broadway. Help us. We're not looking for a handout. We just want a fair deal.
Yeah, and I know that Marsha Blackburn is also been talking about this, and she is definitely sympathetic to what is going on for you folks as well. So if she's the next governor, I think that she will also pick up the mantle from Governor Lee.
Yes, sir. Her office has already reached out as soon as the meeting broke. The news broke about the meeting with Speaker Sexton. They reached out immediately and said, what do we need to do to help? So she's already in our corner.
Awesome. Love it. Barrett Hobbs, thank you very much for joining us here on Super Talk 99.7. Good luck and keep us updated. Remember that John Rich will be on with Matt Murphy later today at 4:35. And as Barrett says, all hands on deck. I mean, I think you can probably consider WTN a friend to you folks as well, because We love our bars and restaurants in Nashville. We love the Nashville identity. We love the music as well. And anything that we can do in some small way to help get the word out, we are all on all hands on deck here as well. It is 7:56, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan has the news coming up at 8 o'clock. Joan.
Yeah, tragedy on the water in New York Harbor. That story at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 7:56. Dan Mandis here. You know, dogs are supposed to be man's best friend, but sometimes, like all relationships, they need work. And Ridgeside Canine Nashville, they can help you. I call these folks the dog whisperers. They've helped thousands of dogs and their owners over the last 25 years solve behavioral issues. They can help you as well. Aggression, potty problems, anxiety, basic obedience. They can help you help your dog with just about anything. They are the premier dog trainers in Tennessee. But what I really love about Ridgeside Canine Nashville is that they believe that owner education is just as important as dog training, and long-term success with your dog begins with you. At Ridgeside Canine Nashville, they've got a lifetime support guarantee. They are there for you 24/7, 365. So make 2026 the year that your dog listens. Call them today at 615-878-0380, 615-878-0380, rsk9nash.com. That's RS, the letter K, the number 9, rsk9nash.com for Ridgeside Canine Nashville. Veteran-owned, proven results, and guaranteed for life. $7:58 on Super Talk 99.7. And listen, Dan Mandis here. I've been a client of Dr. Kevin Mitchell for about 12 years. He's awesome. And so is my once bad back. Thanks to the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they fixed me right up. They can do the same thing for you. Now, they've been changing lives for 20 years with innovation and technology. Now, this year marks his big 20th year with Pioneer Days in Technology Ways. To celebrate in style, Dr. Mitchell is offering you the Big 20. It gives you 50% off non-surgical spinal decompression. That's right. Discover why patients across Tennessee trust Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley for answers and relief. Find them online, painisbad.com, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com.
Good morning. It's 8 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got your forecast and traffic coming up in 5. It's the first day of school in Sumner and Rutherford counties today. Williamson County schools will have a half day of classes. Metro Nashville Public Schools, they return tomorrow. All of this has Metro Nashville Police issuing reminders for drivers.
Remember, please leave home early. Give yourself extra time. Slow down, watch for students and school buses, drive carefully, and please adhere to the 15-mile-per-hour speed limit in active school zones.
Metro Nashville police also in need of crossing guards. Anyone interested is encouraged to visit the Metro Nashville police website and search crossing guards. A Nashville man has been charged after threatening police officers who were trying to arrest him for being drunk in public. 42-year-old Joseph Falkenstein had reportedly urinated on the sidewalk near Broadway yesterday, and police say he had an open bottle of Jack Daniels in his pocket. As they tried to take him into custody, Falkenstein threatened to put a bullet in the officers' heads. He's due in court on Wednesday. A boat capsized in New York Harbor near the Statue of Liberty on Saturday night, killing a woman and her baby.
A chaotic and desperate rescue unfolding in the shadow of the Statue of Liberty in the middle of the night. 14 people thrown into the water after their boat capsized. Rescuers racing to find a mother and her 5-month-old baby. Rescuers eventually pulling all 14 from the water. But tragically, 27-year-old Sarah Sanchez and her 5-month-old daughter Antonella Garcia later pronounced dead at the hospital.
That is ABC's Morgan Norwood. Now the boat captain, 46-year-old Manuel Hernandez, is under arrest. The Coast Guard is digging into whether this was an illegal charter operation and if Hernandez was carrying passengers for hire without credentials. It was a pretty warm weekend, and it looks like a lot of people escaped the hot weather by ducking into a movie theater.
Sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart.
Spider-Man Brand New Day continued its blistering pace in theaters, collecting over $144 million domestically over its second weekend. Said studio estimates Sunday. It's earned $1.67 billion worldwide in just 10 days.
Help me go home.
Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey also crossed $1 billion, adding $31 million domestically this weekend. The premiere of comedies One Night Only at $5.7 million was third, and Super Troopers 3, $4 million was fourth.
That's ABC's Chuck Sievertson. That's the latest news. Stick around for traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. There's a crash in Dixon on 40 eastbound at the Centerville-Dixon line. The Centerville-Dixon exit. That's number 163. It's an overturned semi-truck, and it's in the right lane. That right lane is blocked off. Lebanon Pike at Nashville, right at Spence Lane, you've got a crash. In Clarksville, they're telling us that there may be traffic signals affected by an power outage in that area. About 3,000 customers have no power this morning in the Clarksville area. Watch for those traffic signals. And Mill Creek, a crash on Harding Place at Night Valley Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. For people, Joan, that missed it, my heartbreaking story about my autographed baseball. By the way, just real quick, Sam, do you have the number? You don't have the number? So I
have the number. He didn't answer.
You do have the number. Okay. We're trying to get David Cohn. You do or you don't? Yes,
I have the number.
You have the number.
No one answered it.
Oh, no one answered it. We'll call it again. David Cohn, you know that we're trying to call you right now. I know that you're in Nashville. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Hold on one sec. This is it. So we're talking about, just real quick, let me make sure that Sam has the right number. I apologize in advance, people. David, and this is terrible, but we should have done this. Do you have the number that ends, Sam, with 5915? It says David Cohn out of Georgia. Anyway, do we have him? So, anyway, I'm trying.
I believe so.
Okay. All right.
Hold a 912 number.
912. Okay. This may or may not be David Cohn. Is that you? Are you there?
I am here, live in the flesh.
Thank you, David, very much. I think we've got a couple of different phone numbers for you, and that is part of the problem. So we'll make sure we get that figured out. Anyway, David, always great to have you on Super Talk 99.7 W10. David, I don't know. I know you were on the air at the same time that I am. Earlier, I was talking about Tommy John, and I don't know if you're a big Tommy John fan, but I was talking about having an autographed baseball, just to finish the story that I started while we were trying to get you on the air. I used to have a baseball with Tommy John. Here's a bunch of names that you know as a sports guy. Tommy John, Davey Lopes, Dusty Baker, Steve Garvey, Ron Say, bunch of LA Dodgers from the 70s and 80s. I had a baseball that had all of those autographs on it, and I went out on a date with a girl who wanted to play catch. I stupidly used that ball, and it got lost. David, how much do you think that ball is worth these days?
Wow. First off, that sounds like a real life Sandlot situation.
That, you know what? When I told that story earlier, people are like, "Oh man, that's right out of Sandlot." So
you are the real life Sandlot situation. I have no idea what that ball would be worth, but I'll tell you what I'll do for you though. I'll sign a ball for you. I'll write David Cohn on there, and you can impress whoever you want. Even though I never threw a perfect game for the Yankees, and I'd never pitched for the Mets as a Braves fan.
Is there any surgery named after you?
No, unfortunately not. I'm still working on that though. I got 3 toddlers right now, so I'm sure there's going to be a surgery in my near future.
Oh yeah, I've been there, done that last year. Yep. Anyway, so and here's the thing: are autographs still a thing, or are people now doing selfies?
That's a good question. I think most people are doing selfies. My dad was always someone who wanted to go chase down and get autographs. I don't know. I was never into it. I like having a picture of somebody and I put it up on our Aura frame that we have. But you know what we got to do? We got to get together so we can get a selfie sometime.
Sure. Yeah, because you and I have actually never met. And so that would be great. You're in Nashville. You are, by the way, part of Crane and Cone with On3 Sports, just to get that official introduction out there. David Cohn joining us. David, I asked you to talk about the WNBA and everything that is going on with, of course, you've got Caitlin Clark, and you've got everything going on with the WNBA, and now you've got a couple of former, Sophie Cunningham as well, you've got a couple of former basketball players, NBA players, that want to join the WNBA. So how is this going to end?
Well, you know, I chuckle at this because this, talking about a real life movie situation like with you with the Sandlot, this is like the film we made when I was at the Daily Wire, Lady Ballers. And, you know, I mean, even the entirety of making that film, which I'm sure some of your audience has seen, I would encourage anyone else to go over to Daily Wire and watch it because, you know, we set out to make a great sports comedy about guys who infiltrated women's basketball and took over and, you know, fought to like make a championship, a quote unquote Olympics. And this was several years ago now, but when I see these guys coming out and declaring for the WNBA, this was always the logical conclusion, which is why I'm so happy we made that film when we did, because when you have cowardly, leaders in positions of leadership, like with the WNBA and the Players Association, who can't come out and say real words, they can't come out and say what they actually mean, then you're always going to end up at a situation like this with someone trying to push the boundaries. So I say good on them and good on Sophie Cunningham and the very few people who are actually speaking up on this issue. Your actual question was, how does this end up? It ends up with some situation of these guys not being allowed to participate in the WNBA, but not because the league is anti-trans, right? We're still very much about diversity and inclusion, but these guys who are claiming to be women on the basketball court will somehow be able to keep them out. So it's just all a joke, in my opinion.
So you saw this hit, no doubt, Sophie Cunningham, and she was, in my opinion, assaulted by this, and I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, Dejanai Carrington, where she butchered Sophie Cunningham on the court over the weekend. And so she gets suspended for the rest of the game, kicked out for the rest of the game. Then she goes to the locker room and she tweets white privilege. And I think that sent just a lot of people screaming in anger on the social media. What did you think about all that?
Well, I mean, that's standard operating procedure and should tell you everything you need to know about the current state of the WNBA. But one thing I was thinking about this weekend, after you and I talked a couple days ago, is, you know, we all thought with Caitlin Clark coming into the league that, you know, she is sort of this magnificent figure because she's so great at basketball and would come in to save the WNBA. I really think it's Sophie Cunningham, her teammate, who actually is getting the most attention for the right reasons, because in an era where we have the emperor has no clothes on and everyone just goes along with that, you have, like, what's the one kid in that parable who says, wait, no, he's not wearing any clothes. And I'm not afraid to say it because it's the truth, and we should never be afraid to say the truth. We finally have one player in the WNBA, and it's not just on one issue. See, on one singular issue, you can dismiss someone, but everywhere down the line, this girl, Sophie Cunningham, is willing to say the truth, to say the actual thing. No, we're not going to let men play in women's sports. No, this isn't about white privilege. I had a foul that was similar a year ago. So God bless this girl, and I'm pulling for her, and maybe some of that will rub off on her teammate Caitlin Clark, who gets the majority of the attention because she is truly a great basketball player, but unfortunately she's not willing to stand up and say the obvious truth.
And we're going to pick up on that coming up. David Cohen joining us on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Dixon, 40 eastbound before Centerville, Dixon. We've got an overturned tractor trailer right closed. Smyrna, 24 westbound at Sam Ridley Parkway. Accident blocks the right shoulder. And Donaldson, Elm Hill Pike. There's an accident at Bradley Parkway. Emergency crews on the scene. I'm Christy O'Brien.
Mix of clouds and the sun today, high of 94, going to feel like 107. Possible storms this afternoon. David Cohn joining us, Crane and Cohn on 3 Sports. So I read over the weekend, I think it was in the Wall Street Journal, David Cohn, but somebody said that Caitlin Clark has a moral obligation to speak out on some of these issues, trans in sports, for example, men playing on the women's team and so forth. Does Caitlin Clark have a moral responsibility to speak out?
Look, this is a very good question. And actually, I went on Piers Morgan's show recently, and this was the topic that we discussed, which is when should athletes be forced to speak up on a certain issue? When should they be allowed to speak up and they're not a distraction? And we talked about Muhammad Ali and the stances that he took, and we talked about Michael Jordan and saying Republicans buy sneakers too, and I'm not getting involved in anything that I don't know about. I can respect both approaches, certainly. But the issue that I have is when you're asked a direct question, and again, getting back to truth, there are some things that are just fundamentally true. Now, I don't need to know necessarily what political candidate that you're voting for. I don't think you have an obligation to get involved in certain issues, maybe where you're not an expert, and that was the Michael Jordan approach to things. And I think a lot of people actually respect that. I'm here to play basketball, and you know, I think Laura Ingraham got herself into a lot of trouble with the shut up and dribble mantra. I've never been a part of that crowd. If you strongly believe in something, speak out about it, and that's great. But I can also appreciate Michael Jordan saying, I'm not getting involved in things that I'm not an expert at. And if Caitlin Clark wants to take that approach and just focus on basketball, then I won't begrudge her for that. Where I do have an issue is when you have something as simple as, should men be allowed to play basketball against women, and you dodge that question, that's where I really do appreciate the likes of Sophie Cunningham coming out and saying, no, that's absolutely ridiculous. What's your next question? question.
Well, and you've got all of these players and even the coaches that are coming out and talking about how, there should be men allowed to play in women's sports, although it would appear, and we'll have to see where this whole thing goes, but they were at least sympathetic to trans men playing in women's sports. And now the league everybody's getting together to try to figure out what their actual policy is, and because they don't even know. It's like they were more interested in virtue signaling than playing this out in their heads.
Oh yeah, no, that's the part that just really makes me laugh, because they're all scrambling around like, wait, what do we do about this? What do we do about a situation? Because obviously, if this were allowed to go forward, then your local high school basketball team would all of a sudden be the starting five on any WNBA team, right? So women would actually not be playing professional basketball at all anymore, which they don't want to have that happen. But they also can't come out and have any stance that's not just completely supportive and bending over backwards to whatever sort of LGBTQ initiative that's going on. So watching that, it does make me chuckle slightly, but it's even more sad than it is funny, because I can't believe that's the current state of professional sports association in the United States of America.
And, David, looking at that foul, and I played it on the YouTube stream earlier, but this foul from DeJohnai Carrington on Sophie Cunningham. The coach came out after the game and actually said that she didn't feel like it was, an out-of-line foul. She was playing, hard, and she's playing tough. But she did get suspended or expelled or whatever from the game. They kicked her out of the game. I guess my question is, from a basketball perspective, did it look like this was a foul that was out of line?
No, I don't believe so. But again, it's less to me, and we had this same conversation a couple months ago on your show when we were discussing some of the fouls on Caitlin Clark. It's less about any one single incident that's on the basketball court. And certainly, like, these referees, they're human, right? They get some right, they get some wrong. The bigger issue I have is sort of the institutional component with the league in terms of the fairness that they are able to apply across different players. And again, when you're so scared of certain groups coming to you through the Players Association, and you're frightened that, we're going to hurt someone's feelings, that's really where I take issue, even more than any sort of one call that might be on the basketball court. And the WNBA, I mean, they've got a situation on their hands here now, because these guys are coming out and declaring for the league, and they're going to have to take a stance on either allowing that to happen or not allowing that to happen, when their official rule book says only women can play basketball in the WNBA. And once again, to quote one of my former colleagues, Matt Walsh, we can't even decide on what a woman is.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that these two players are challenging this, and I love the stance of conservatism these days, where we are getting tougher on these issues, and we're challenging the left on these issues, and we're pointing out the absurdity of some of their stances. And so I love what's happening with the WNBA. I hate what's happening to Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark, but I love the fact that, enough conservatives, including these two basketball players, former NBA players, are saying, okay, we'll put on a wig and let's go dribble. And I love that. The last question I have, David, is one that has come up on our super text line. I know you and I have talked about this before, but it does bear repeating. Why shouldn't Sophie Cunningham or Caitlin Clark go to Europe and play there, where perhaps they would be more respected and certainly they'd be safer on the court?
Yeah, well, I don't know about going to Europe. At the end of the day, they're Americans, and this is their home turf. And I certainly would want to be able to, if I'm as big of a draw as what they are, be able to make a living on my home base here, especially in the greatest country that we've ever known. But I do understand your point on, like, maybe sort of creating an alternative league of some sort. And that, again, that gets back to how sad of a situation we're talking about here, and not just on the trans issue, but on the racial component too, because I grew up in South Georgia, and some of the closest bonds that I've formed in my life are with teammates from different backgrounds and different ethnicities than I have. And so I see, like, what value can be added in your life from that and those sorts of relationships. And to see that that's not the case for some of these women in the WNBA is really, really sad. So I don't know what these young ladies should do. I don't know if they should continue to fight the good fight and maybe create some internal change in the WNBA, while also, being able to still bring in income from their endorsement deals and such, or if they should just say, hey, if we're not welcome here, then we're going to go do something else. And I could certainly appreciate that approach as well.
What did you think of the Attorney General for the state of Florida saying, you know what, you do that in Florida, we're going to bring you up on charges?
Well, we had this conversation on our show, Crane and Cone, one time on a hockey incident that happened that involved like a manslaughter case. That was, there was a fatality involved in that, so a little bit different scale. But it did bring up a very interesting debate on our show on when is someone held liable on a court or on a sports field for an action they've committed when they might just be trying to play as hard as they can. But then also, I think you can have a situation where a jury is using their judgment to say, no, this exceeded what should happen on a basketball court or on a hockey rink or on a football field or something like that. I think that would be an uphill battle, but I certainly appreciate someone coming out and trying to defend some logical reality in our society here.
All right, David Cone, Crane and Cone with On3 Sports. And how can people find you on the socials, David?
Hey, please check us out on YouTube at Crane and Cone. Watch our show. We're on Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. And I'm on X and Instagram and everywhere that you can follow a sports show at David Adam Cone. And while I didn't throw a perfect game for the Yankees, I still think you'll have a good time coming over and watching our content. And you're a heck of a guitar player and singer too. We haven't played one of your songs in a while. Thank you. I'll pass you an extra $50 for that. Thank you, man. All right, man. We'll talk to you again soon. David Cone joining us on Super Talk 99.7. TB says, Mandis, why can't you talk about this being black-white thing? I think at this point we know. Like, we talked about this like an hour ago, how it's not only a black-white thing, but it's a gay lesbian thing versus straight thing. I can't, like...
He doesn't want to turn it into a Klan rally.
I don't know. I don't know. Do I have to reset the same thing every time? I feel like we all kind of know, but whatever.
By the way, the hockey situation he was referencing, if that went over, some people says there was a British league and a player, collided with a guy, but he appeared to kick him with his skate, sliced his throat, and the dude died. They ended up dropping the charges. I was disappointed.
Got it. Okay. Well, sad. But, you got a bunch of guys running around in skates. And
it was the kick part for me.
Well, yeah.
Pretty intentional.
How did he kick? So
he got hit, and so his legs are kind of coming up. And so, because he was irritated, he got hit.
Yeah.
He kind of threw his foot out there, and it happened to catch the guy right in the throat.
That sounds almost impossible. I'm not denying, but that sounds almost impossible that he would, as he's falling back, he takes his skate and takes out the guy's throat. That sounds almost impossible.
It sounds impossible that it would be, unintentional.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. By the way, a lot of people making fun of me about the whole baseball thing.
Yeah, that seems to be the majority of the responses this morning.
Well, okay, so just to add to this, for people that don't remember, and Sam and Joan, I don't think you guys were here when I talked about this. My dearly departed mother, she threw away, I had boxes of baseball cards.
This is like such a common story.
She threw them away. I had like the entire Dodgers from like 1974, 1975, 1970. And they were like boxes, and she threw them away. I said,
but
Mom,
did you leave them at her house when you moved on?
It was my house. I lived there too as a child.
Did you pay the mortgage?
No.
Was your name on the title?
Okay. You know what? As a mother, she should have picked up the phone and said, Danny,
and
do you still want these old baseball cards?
Smelly old baseball cards.
As you've talked about before on the show, how you've overcome, being in debt for stuff.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you had that at your disposal to get some liquid?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Can you imagine? Yeah. I know. And they were in mint condition, too. I mean, I would go and I would buy the Topps baseball cards, and I would every day. Did you ever do that, Sam? I know Joan did. Did you ever do that?
My wife and I do it with hockey cards, yeah.
Okay. There's sticky gum inside there, too?
Okay, so let's review. You lost a baseball, very valuable baseball.
Yes.
You lost all your baseball cards. But,
no, I didn't lose them. My mother threw them away.
Okay.
Big
so they
deal.
were lost after that.
But you still have dirt. And so,
Joan, I actually don't have the dirt.
You don't have the dirt?
No.
Dan.
You at least have the dirt that Matt Van Epps brought you.
I do have the dirt that Matt Van Epps gave me. So for people that don't know, I used to collect dirt from baseball stadiums, and it would be like the infield or the outdoor, the track. What do you call it? The track. Warning track. So I'd take tours of stadiums, and I would collect dirt, and I'd put them in little bags, and I did that for I was like 30 years I did that. And I can't really get into the details, but no, I don't have those anymore either. I can't talk about it. Why? Because I don't want to hear from the lawyers.
I'm questioning why, if you really are a fan.
Of baseball?
Of baseball.
Well, I was a fan. I'm not so much of a fan anymore, but I still want my baseball dirt and my baseball cards and my baseball that was lost. Is probably that baseball, by the way, is Griffith Park Observatory, I think is what it's called. And I bet you that baseball is still somewhere, rain soaked in the foothills of Los Angeles. Actually, by now it's probably been burned in one of the Gavin Newsom fires.
Probably.
8:27, got to go. Let's see here. Joan's got the news at 8:30. Joan.
Yeah, story about a Nashville child shot while sleeping in bed. That story is coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, very good. Joan, why should you go to Brentwood Jewelry for all your jewelry needs? Well, why not? They are simply put the best in Middle Tennessee. They've got incredible selections of watches for both men and women for any budget, and great selections of Rolexes, both new and used. And by the way, if pocket knives are your thing, and Joan, I'm considering buying a pocket knife.
You'll lose it.
Over at Brentwood Jewelry, they feature the William Henry collection, and they're gorgeous, as a matter of fact. So I'm thinking about buying a pocket knife. But listen, guys, if you're getting engaged, ladies as well, they've got everything from wedding bands to semi-mount engagement rings and a whole lot more. And if you're looking for something for that special lady, guys, in your life, they feature bracelets and earrings and necklaces and a whole lot more. And again, all at great prices and selection, outstanding customer service as well. Brentwood Jewelry, you got to check them out. Exceptional styles, exceptional deals for over 50 years. Online anytime, it is BrentwoodJewelry.com, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Be sure and tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, BrentwoodJewelry.com.
Good morning, 8:32. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A 7-year-old girl has been shot in East Nashville as she slept in her bed. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac.
Around 2:30 this morning, investigators say that they were called to a duplex in East Nashville, and they believe that a drive-by shooting happened. They tell us that it looks like the left side of this duplex may have been the target. There were some bullet holes on the second-story window there. But one of those bullets, it did fly into the other side of that home and hit a 7-year-old girl. She's in serious but stable condition this morning, and there were children inside both sides of that duplex when this happened.
So far, no arrests. Police are reviewing doorbell camera video. Hunter Biden says his dad's cancer has spread.
In an interview with the BBC, Hunter Biden says his father's prostate cancer, which had spread to his bones, has now gone further. Hunter Biden says his father's cancer is now very painful and very debilitating, but he says the 83-year-old former president is still out there doing his thing. Asked about this, Biden's office declined to comment.
Now, the former president was diagnosed in May of 25 with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. And a rattlesnake spotted at Warner Parks in South Nashville over the weekend. Somebody at that park took video as that snake slithered across a trail and into the vegetation. Now, I posted the video on my X account. I'm at Joan Jones WTN if you want to check it out. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency says rattlesnakes can be found in nearly every county and every region of Tennessee. They're venomous for sure, but they generally avoid humans unless they are provoked. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com, and stocks trading now, but everything looks lower this morning. The Dow Jones Industrial starting out 65 points lower. The NASDAQ is falling 39. S&P 500 index is down just a fraction. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 834, Dan Mandis here. For my friends at the Covered Patio, warmer weather means you want to spend more time outside. Fall is coming. That is great outside weather. My friends at the Covered Patio, they can help you enjoy it. So listen, if you want to add more living space to your home, think about building or upgrading your patio. They've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade. So your back screened-in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. Now, at the Covered Patio, they've got a ton of outdoor living options with motorized screens, patio covers, custom wooden decks, and outdoor structures as well. They've got a ton of options with styles for every budget at the Covered Patio. They're dedicated to fair prices and customized solutions for your specific home and your specific space. So enjoy your home a lot more with an incredible patio upgrade from the Covered Patio. Reach out to them, 615-695-2407. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, 615-695-2407, thecoveredpatio.com, thecoveredpatio.com. Dan Mandis here for the Generator Super Center. Now, one of the biggest priorities in your life does need to be to protect your family. And if the power goes out in your neighborhood, you need to get it back on quickly. You need the Generator Super Center. Now, you've seen the horror stories. A lot of us lived through the horror stories of the power being out for days or weeks at a time. The Generator Super Center does provide backup home standby generators at a terrific price and outstanding customer service. As a matter of fact, go to their website right now, GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com, and see how you can get started. And you can save $500 when you tell them that Dan Mandis told you to reach out. That website, again, GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com. They feature turnkey installation, certified plumbers and electricians, and service after the install, and a whole lot more. So the power goes out in your neighborhood, you've got a backup power generator and a plan, so your power goes right back on. At the Generator Super Center, they also have their generators made right here in America. So call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. And again, don't forget to check out their website, GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com, and see how you can save $500. .838 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Chris Hand is here getting ready for the crisscross handoff. Loan Pronto. Listen, if you've got a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to. They can help you out at the Loan Pronto. You can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loans. That's right. Now, with Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. Now, one local homeowner just got $100,000 out of their home, paid off all of their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 every single month. Now, it gets better. There's also no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, and no long drawn-out process, no closing costs, and you could even skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto right now. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com is the website, LoanPronto.com. How much can you get right now? 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780, LoanPronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
It's a crash in Talbot's Corner on 65 on the southbound side past Trinity Lane, exit 87. The right shoulder is blocked there. Goodlettsville, Gallatin Pike North, north of Conference Drive. You've got an accident in that spot, too. And then Ashland City, there's a power outage there. About 1,500 customers are without power. And same thing, power has been restored now to Clarksville. So this is in Ashland City where they're saying there may be some traffic signals that are out this morning as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hard.
840, Nashville's morning news on Super Talk. I don't know what you're playing, Sam.
It's Luna's. I got 5 on it.
Okay. I got 10 if he stops playing it. Anyway, moving right along. So we've been comparing sports stories and about how our parents threw away things that were very important to us, like when my mom threw away my baseball cards many years ago.
Yeah, your story definitely had Sandlot vibes when you lost that baseball.
When I lost the...
Have you seen Sandlot?
I have. I don't remember it. I don't remember it for whatever reason. So that's where You're Killing Me Smalls is from, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, I did see that finally, but I don't know. I've got a brain like a goldfish. Like, I forget everything the second I see it. And I don't know why that is.
I feel really guilty.
Why?
To be honest with you.
Why?
Because I don't know if you know this, but during Joan's newscast, I snuck in behind her to photobomb and give a thumbs up to the camera.
Okay.
And right as I'm doing it, she was doing the story about that 4-year-old girl that died. And I didn't mean for the timing to happen that way.
So wait a minute. So Joan,
if you go back on the stream,
it looks like around at the wrong time, Chris.
It looks like I popped in and thumbs up that story. And then I quickly realized what had happened, and I popped back in to give a thumbs down because obviously that's a thumbs downer.
Yeah, that's a thumbs downer kind of a story. Although she's alive, right? That little girl is alive, right?
Okay.
Non-life-threatening injuries.
All right. Well, I was immediately panic-stricken. I was like, oh, God, what did I do?
Oh, that's what you were doing in there when you were thumbs downing?
Yes.
Yeah, that camera wasn't on.
Okay, thank goodness.
It's all fun and games till somebody's eye gets poked out.
It's all fun and games till you thumbs up a little girl getting shot, Chris.
I felt really bad.
So Sam was telling me 40 bullets. Is that what you were saying, Sam?
40 shell casings found on the street.
So
that's crazy.
What I think is hysterical and whatever. I don't. It doesn't track for me that the news organizations are saying this was a drive-by shooting.
No, that was a stop and
Right. The car stopped.
Stop and spray.
Shot into the windows. It doesn't track. So
My question then became with Dan, like, are these kids running around with these drum mags on the bottom of their handguns, or we got multiple shooters? I mean, 40 shells, it's a lot to get through. You're changing mags if it's just you.
I mean, these are future engineers.
Doctors and lawyers.
Their lives are on track. They were just in church yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, glad she's okay, the little girl.
Yes.
We see these stories all the time where
she might be okay physically, but I think that, emotionally, mentally, gosh, that's got to.
How old is the little girl?
7.
7 years old.
It's gonna mess her up for the rest of her life. She's never gonna feel safe in her own bed again. Are you kidding me?
Nope.
So they're looking for the guys.
Yep.
So can I ask a question? Sam, you'd know this. So when they find this guy or these guys, will they be charged with attempted murder?
I mean, they should be. I mean, we should. Months ago, you remember that lady that worked at the Ryman was knocked over by somebody on Broadway, broke her hip, and all they did was give him a simple assault charge. They never upgraded his charges. So I'm doubtful. They're probably going to take their time to investigate who was really the one pulling the trigger, as opposed to arresting everybody, charging them all with the same thing until someone cracks.
Yep. That's awful. They should just, because, all of a sudden, what do they think? These dirt bags are going to be like, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore. No, it's going to escalate. Mm-hmm. So they should find him, throw him in prison, and lock him away and throw away the key. That's what they need to do.
They should lock them up and then lock the key up. And then throw away that key.
That's exactly right.
Make somebody eat it.
Randy says, hey, Dan, do you remember the little baseball helmets that 7-Eleven ran that you could get a Slurpee in? I do remember this.
Yeah.
He says, I had the entire set and my mom tossed them while I was at college. What is wrong with moms?
Seriously, they're the worst.
Joan, would you ever throw something away that was your son's or daughter's?
No, but when they left home and and we moved, I wanted the stuff. Like, I don't want to pay for storage of your stuff. Like,
I think some things got thrown away.
But
same thing happens in my house. All the sentimental stuff, Virginia's the one that throws it away.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You throw her right under the bus,
She gets rid of it so fast. She waits until the kids are sleeping. And then she goes and finds what they really like, and then she throws it away.
Yeah, no. No.
Do you know what else my mom threw away?
What?
So when I was a little kid, probably like, 6 or 7, when you do crafts in school? So I made a Christmas ornament out of a roll of toilet paper. Do you know what do you call it? Just the toilet paper roll, the brown thing on the inside?
The telescope part.
Yes.
The didgeridoo.
The kaleidoscope.
I cut it in half with scissors.
Yeah.
And then I wrapped it with Christmas paper.
Yep.
Then I used the holes and I put a hole in it, and then I put red ribbon to put it on the Christmas tree.
Beautiful.
My mom threw it away. I think she secretly hated me. That's the only thing that I could think of.
I mean, she clearly didn't have an appreciation for art.
I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but I made one in kindergarten, and it's a coffee filter angel.
Mm-hmm.
And we cut our faces out of a picture that we brought in, and we glued our faces to the top of it. It goes up on the tree every year.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
My mom tossed it.
My daughter used to collect stuffed animals, like so many stuffed animals. So I would try every once in a while to take like 1 or 2 and put them in the trash, like things that she wouldn't notice, put them in the trash. It's like she had a second sense that I was doing that. And she would go out back into the trash can and find the stuffed animals.
That's why you get a dog. It'll handle that for you.
Oh, let them tear it up.
We've got stuffed animals from like when Riker was a youngling, like 2 or 3, and just they're in there. And I'm like, honey, what are we doing with the stuffed animals? What are we doing with the stuffed animals? And I'm all for keeping them. Like, I just fine by me, but she's like torn about what she wants to do with them. So I think we finally decided that we're going to wait till Jameson and Lincoln get to be a certain age, and then we'll give the stuffed animals to them.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to do.
So I'm the sentimental one in the house, and we have baseball stadium mascots from all the stadiums that we've gone to.
Oh, nice.
And my wife has tried to throw them away on several occasions. And I'm like, whoa.
We're not doing that.
Whoa. That'll be for the grandkids.
There you go.
Do you have the Philly Fanatic?
No, we have good mascots.
Oh, come on.
Do you have the San Diego Chicken?
No, not yet. Who will?
What do you actually have?
I got Pause for. It's all Midwest. I got Pause from Comerica Park. I got Hooper from the Pistons. I got Mr. Baseball from Cincinnati. We got Wally from the Red Sox. We got a few of them.
Okay. Let's see here.
A fanatic.
What's that, Joan?
I'm going to bring a fanatic. You have to. It's the best mascot ever.
You're right. That's probably a good idea. Then it'll look like I'm conceding when I allow Virginia to throw one of them away.
Chris, do you really?
Or you feed it to the dog, as per Sam's request.
Chris, do you really want to find the guys that shot up that house and shot that little girl? Do you really want to find them? Because if you did, you would allow flock cameras.
Oh, here we go.
That's from the super text line. That's from the super text line.
It's funny because there was a flock camera story over the weekend. And it's like for every one good story that flock cameras do, there's other stories too where it was like an elderly couple got cornered on the highway because they thought that they were murder suspects, and all these cops jumped out and like pointed their guns at them just over the weekend, and they did nothing wrong. So
is that a flock camera fault?
Yeah, the flock cameras flagged the car as being the cars of the murder suspects.
We already have this issue of people being swatted on live streams. And stuff.
Police shut down I-94, boxed in a silver SUV, held 2 people at gunpoint after flock cameras flagged their car as connected to a homicide, except it wasn't. The alert was outdated, and authorities forgot to remove it. Trust the algorithm, Dan.
Okay, listen, that's not. Well, first of all, I'm not pro flock camera.
You seem a little pro flock over here.
No, I'm playing devil's advocate because sometimes you need that in talk
okay,
radio.
I'll give you something. How about you get a very small, but how about you get a property tax reduction rate if you have security cameras on your property and you're willing to turn them over when the police request them for something that happens on your street?
See, that is a proposal for Nashville that Nashville Metro Council rejected.
Well, so you can't do that because you're making.
No, you're not making.
You're making no. Hold on. You're making a decision for the entire street. That you can't. If I live on a street and I say, okay, I get a deduction of my property taxes if I have flock cameras at my house, but I'm giving away all the information of all the other people on my street. Well, then Joan's going to come over and slash your tires.
So you don't technically own the footage that your Ring doorbell captures. Ring owns that, which
but the big thing on the flock cameras, it's not what they're being used for today. It's what they can be used for once this infrastructure is built out.
Right.
No. And I'm not saying put flock cameras at your house. I'm saying your own private security system, and that when the local police come knocking about something, you give consent to turn over footage.
Do you think, and this is a serious question, do you think there is more stories of bad guys being busted with the help of flock cameras or flock cameras being misused? Which do you think is the story that is most prevalent? Because and listen, I've come out against flock cameras, so just so we're all clear. But
I think if we were to look at the numbers, you'd probably find more stories of bad guys being busted currently.
Yeah.
But that doesn't negate the abuse stories by local police
I'm just asking the question.
Or incidents where people are flagged for committing a crime that they didn't commit, because then you're guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
And how many do you tolerate then? I mean, is one story of a bad guy misusing the camera feed enough, or does it need to be 10?
And with the swatting
it's way past 10.
Well, and here's the question. Does it matter? Because if we're talking about constitutional concerns, and this is going to the Supreme Court, then it doesn't matter what the number is. It can be 1, it can be 1,000. If it's breaking the Constitution, then we can't allow it. So it just doesn't matter what the number is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'll accelerate.
Yeah.
You guys, I think Joan had this last week. The Arizona man paralyzed by Nancy Guthrie sheriff deputies after alleged swatting call. He's now suing Pima County for $176 million. They broke his door down and shot him because someone hacked his live stream and called in a swatting attempt on his address. So imagine if Flock's incorporated into that.
Those swatting, that's no joke. Because that could lead to, obviously, death, death or permanent injuries from, police firing on you or somebody firing on the cops. I mean, it's awful. So, by the way, Mario checking in. Sounds like Dan's mom threw away his childhood and replaced it with a life of psychiatric visits.
Damn.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus.
You have no idea there, Mario.
Talking about backfilling dirt.
That's all right. We love Mario. I like Mario a lot. Do you know who I was excited to meet the other day? Did I say this on the air? I know I said it off the air. Joe and I met 4702 the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And he came up and he said, I'm 4702.
Yeah.
And nicest guy in the world. And he's the guy, in case you people don't know, he's always like coming after me for whatever reason. It can be very challenging and it's fine. But good guy, had a great conversation. Nice guy. So there you go. That's what I love about our events. I can see the faces and meet the people behind the 4 digits.
Once you have to come in direct contact with the sheer masculinity of Dan Mandis, many people tend to back down.
Oh, my.
Do they, though, Chris?
They do. People don't think it be like it is.
But it do.
But it do.
Okay, where's that from again?
It's just the internet.
Oh, okay, good.
No, isn't that a
I think it's
Jasmine
a Crockett-ism.
Crockett-ism? Yeah.
I mean, that's why I started saying it, but
Okay.
it's been around before that.
Got it.
She just did the meme in real time.
So have you had anybody, when they meet you, Sam or Joan or Chris, say, we thought you'd be different in person or whatever? Like, do you feel like you'd meet the expectations of people?
I get told I'm a lot taller in person.
Okay, very good.
I too get told I'm a lot taller in person.
You are tall.
You ever get that, Dan?
People can see.
No, I never do.
People can see us now. You know, they know like what we look like essentially.
Yeah, that's very true. They do know what we look like.
Which is why my mustache is purely a disguise. It comes off when I leave the building.
Is that right?
Is that right?
Sure.
Yeah, very good. Anyway, that's one of the reasons why I love those events is we get to meet folks. So anyway, it is 8:54 on Super Talk 99.7. What's the guy's name on? I got to make sure I get this right, man. The guy who died from Dukes of Hazzard. Cooter. I'm like, I was like gonna say it, Chris.
And then you got a little nervous.
I got a little nervous because I'm like, wait, was it Cooter?
It was Cooter. I actually have it in the news coming up.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say that on the radio?
Yeah, you're allowed to say it.
It's his name.
It's his name.
Joan's been saying it all day.
Cooter.
Cooter.
Yeah.
Cooter.
So Cooter is passed away, but Dick Van Dyke's still alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dick Van Dyke is like over 100.
He's still dancing.
He said Dick Van Dyke is like Joe Biden. Apparently, according to Hunter,
Who's not doing so well.
he's not doing so well. So there you go.
Hold on.
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Dick
But
Van
here's
Dyke
the-
is 100. He will be 101 in December.
What's the record?
Of?
Being old.
Methuselah.
Well, modern times.
There's always like somebody in France who's 114 when they die, you know? Like,
And they smoke and they drink.
yeah.
That's how they.
Cup of whiskey every day.
Yeah, that's exactly
Currently,
right.
the oldest living person is Ethel Caterham of the United Kingdom, born August 21st, 1909.
Of course, her name is
116.
Ethel, by the way.
Caterham.
116. Ethel's a cool name.
She's about to be 117.
Do you know what else, by the way, you three is also really old?
What's that?
This segment. Can we
Yeah.
be done? Thank you. Hey, 8:50.
You're really proud of that one, aren't you?
I am actually. That's pretty good.
We can
All
all
right.
see it coming, Dan.
Joan's got the news coming up. Joan.
Besides Cooter's death, I'll tell you about a former teacher who's making a court appearance today. That's coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.